Chapter 1262, The Great Emperor's Historical Remains. Lin Feng landed on a small hill and sat down cross-legged to observe the crowd. The Wen clan. 1,000 meters to his left, someone smiled and nodded at Lin Feng. It was Wen Tiange. Only the strongest people from Ba Huang province could go there. Lin Feng sensed that someone was looking at him in a cold way. 10,000 meters away, there were people from the Qi clan. Lin Feng noticed a particular young man glaring at him. "Where's my sister?" asked the young man. The lights emerged from his eyes which made the ground shake. He was one of the 3 heroic young cultivators of the Qi clan, Qi Tiansu, Qi Jiaojiao and Qi Tianxing's big brother. When he was younger, he was also one of the 10 strongest young cultivators of the province. Amongst those 3 heroes, Qi Tianxing and Qi Tiansu were incredible. Qi Jiaojiao was slightly weaker, but since she was also one of the 4 most beautiful girls from the Ba Huang province, she was also considered one of the 3 heroes. Unfortunately, amongst the 3 heroes of the Qi clan, Qi Tianxing had died and his sister was held captive by Lin Feng. As a big brother, he hated Lin Feng. If Lin Feng didn't have Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, he would fearlessly attack Lin Feng right now and kill him. "She's alive," said Lin Feng indifferently. Lin Feng had heard of the 3 heroes from the Qi clan, so he knew that Qi Tiansu existed. "I will definitely kill you someday," said Qi Tiansu before turning around. Lin Feng ignored him and sat down again and closed his eyes. There were people from so many powerful groups, all except Tiantai. Tiantai didn't have the same recognition as the other powerful groups yet. Lin Feng also realized that apart from those he had killed already, Qi Tiansheng and Bai Qiu Luo, the other 8 strongest young cultivators from Ba Huang were all there as well. After Fortune City, they had all broken through to the Zun Qi layer already. Of course, they still needed to travel around to become stronger. Apart from them, Lin Feng saw many other people he knew, for example, Feng Xian, Shui Bagio, the Thunderbird and others he knew from Fortune City. The Thunderbird looked at Lin Feng, but he looked scared. Lin Feng had changed in Fortune City, so much so that the Thunderbird couldn't offend him anymore. Lin Feng had already defeated Long Teng and Qi Tianxing. As far as the brutal part of Ba Huang was concerned, only Mo Peng, the great oriental greenfinch rock from the bestial imperial palace, could challenge Lin Feng. But Lin Feng didn't pay attention to him. He opened his eyes, stood up and saw someone flying over to him. Lin Feng smiled and said, "You're here too." "Hee, so many of my friends are here, of course I had to come too," said Yuan Fei smiling. "But, Jun Emoshi didn't come. I heard something horrible was happening in the Palace of the Immortals. The old emperor is about to die. He's going to die." Lin Feng was astonished. Such incredibly bad news. If an emperor died and there was nobody to replace him, the situation could become dangerous for them. There were no new emperors to replace him in the Palace of the Immortals, but at least the emperor had chosen Jun Emoshi to replace him. Yes, luckily, all the powerful groups from the Ba Huang province are here in this small country. If nobody had noticed that the Wen clan was paying particular attention to this place, everybody would have waited for the Palace of the Immortals Emperor to die. Said Yuan Fei. "What is going on here?" asked Lin Feng. After leaving the Ba Huang province, he didn't know what had since. Some people say that there are some historical remains belonging to the 3 Lives Great Emperor. Back in the antiquity, a great war happened between great emperors, so there could be some great treasures here. Explained Yuan Fei to Lin Feng. Some people had revealed it in the Ba Huang province on purpose because they wanted to use the Tiansu teleportation portal. The 3 Lives Great Emperor. Lin Feng was very surprised. He looked at the remaining hills and dunes. Was the strength of the Haruka from the 3 Lives Buddha demon skills a vestige left by the 3 Lives Great Emperor? Was it the 3 Lives Great Emperor who had sealed the Flame Emperor, Yen Di, in that small world? A great war between great emperors? Whispered Lin Feng. Yangzhou City was a small town, but had a great war occurred there? If there are historical remains, why don't we look for treasures then? Asked Lin Feng. Everybody's waiting, said Yuan Fei before adding, you can try to dig there, but it's extremely hard. Lin Feng frowned and released sharp sword energies. Slash, Slash. A hole appeared, but after a dozen meters into the ground, the sword chi stopped as if it had hit something solid. Lin Feng frowned. He hadn't thought that there could be something so hard in the Yunhai mountain range. You're not the only one. Even strong cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer couldn't manage to pierce through it. However, many people are unwilling to do anything, instead preferring to wait for others to do all the work. Lin Feng laughed. Lin Feng couldn't use his secret items in front of so many people who dared. Some old cultivators are really patient, said Lin Feng, smiling. They've been practicing cultivation for over 100 years, of course they're patient. The place won't disappear anytime soon, said Yuan Fei, laughing. The old cultivators all had their eyes closed. For them, a few months were akin to a few hours. Lin Feng, said someone else. Lin Feng turned around and saw someone in white clothes, a boy who looked as beautiful as a girl. Lin Feng smiled in a resplendent way. What an incredible feeling to see an old friend. It was a friend he had back when he was studying at the academy, his former disciple, Wen Ao Shui. Long time no see, said Lin Feng. Wen Ao Shui was surprised before saying, I wouldn't have thought that I'd ever see you again. Since you left Shuiyu, you've become famous in Ba Huang. I would have never thought that an old friend of mine was from an imperial clan in Ba Huang, said Lin Feng. Orders from the clan, I can't do anything but obey. I've been in Shuiyu for a few years already, said Wen Ao Shui, smiling. They chatted for a few minutes and then Wen Ao Shui went back to his family. Are you not happy? Asked Yuan Fei. Lin Feng shook his head with mixed feelings. Now that he had seen Wen Ao Shui again and knew that he was from the Wen clan, he suddenly understood a lot. Even though he used to be very good friends with Wen Ao Shui in the past, it felt strange to know that he was from the Wen clan. Everybody had hidden motives. Where was he when Yen Yu Pingxing had died? Of course, Lin Feng didn't blame Wen Ao Shui, it was just that the situation had changed. People from powerful groups were difficult to make friends with, but Yuan Fei was an exception. Chapter 1263, Demoniac Marks, Yuan Fei. Who did you come with? Asked Lin Feng. There were so many powerful groups in Shuiyu and all of them had brought cultivators of the top of the Zunqi layer. Even the strongest young cultivators from the Ba Huang province hadn't come alone, it was too dangerous. My dad, said Yuan Fei, pointing at a big and muscular man. He looked as strong as Yuan Fei. My dad and a few old apes. The middle-aged man looked at them, smiled and nodded at Lin Feng. Lin Feng waved at him. Yuan Fei's father was probably a cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer and the people he brought were also probably incredibly strong. Lin Feng, if we really find historical remains, you'll have to be careful. All those people want some treasures. Initially, my family didn't want to come, but I wanted to come and have some fun so they followed me, warned Yuan Fei. Lin Feng was alone, so even if someone killed him, who would protect him? I'll hide far away, said Lin Feng jokingly, but he took Yuan Fei's words seriously. Having Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword didn't mean he could do anything he wanted. Hee, look how everybody is practicing cultivation. We should do the same, said Yuan Fei, sitting down on a small hill and closing his eyes. Lin Feng closed his eyes too and practiced demonic cultivation and studied his 81 swords, holy marks pattern. Lin Feng could only use 3 types of abstruse energies to create sword skills and techniques so far. He wanted to add a 4th one, but it was too difficult. However, pure abstruse energies alone didn't have such an explosive power when compared to fusing them together. Some time passed and still, nothing happened. At that moment, an older Zun cultivator of the Qi clan suddenly opened his eyes and walked towards the group of the Wen clan and said, The Wen clan have been preparing for so many years, and you even sent people here first using the Tian Su teleportation portal. An older Zun cultivator of the Wen clan also opened his eyes and looked in the direction of the Qi clan's site. Back then, in Tian Su town, when the images appeared in the sky above the Tian Su teleportation portal, the Qi clan was present. They had seen the historical remains and now they wanted to make things move along faster. You must have the ancient broken space mirror as well, right? Said the older Zun cultivator of the Wen clan, smiling coldly. The older Zun cultivator of the Qi clan coldly stared at him. That bastard. Indeed, he had the ancient broken space mirror. The ancient broken space mirror is a peerless holy weapon. If the Emperor doesn't use it himself, with your strength, you still should be able to release half of its power and break that hard earth easily, said the older Zun cultivator from the Wen clan. The older Zun cultivator from the Wen clan is right. Since the Qi clan has brought the ancient broken space mirror, why hide it and make everybody wait? Said an older Zun cultivator of the Si Kong clan. If the Qi clan isn't willing to use the ancient broken space mirror, I don't mind pushing them a bit, said a Zun-level beast from the bestial imperial palace. Please do use the ancient broken space mirror, said the Zun cultivator of the Wen clan, smiling devilishly. Since it's that way, why not? Said the Zun cultivator from the Qi clan. Everybody was staring at him now. He had no choice but do something. Everybody stood up. They were going to start. The older Zun cultivator from the Qi clan rose up in the air above the area which was impossible to pierce through, and an ancient mirror appeared in his hand. The space around the mirror instantly became distorted. The sky shook violently as the mirror became gigantic. Its reflective side was facing the ground and energies emerged from it. Go! Shouted the older Zun cultivator of the Qi clan. An incredible amount of abstruse energies surrounded the mirror and it became golden and dazzling. Slash, slash. There were no explosions, only crackling sounds as a hole appeared in the ground. Nobody knew how deep it was, maybe 100 meters, while the diameter of the hole was a few dozen meters. People rose up in the air and many people looked inside. What was inside? Lin Feng rose up in the air too and looked at the hole. He didn't use his godly awareness to inspect it because the Qi clan's ancient broken space mirror could destroy anything. Putting his godly awareness inside would have been suicidal. It's just pitch black, thought Lin Feng, staring at the hole. Yuan Fei's facial expression looked strange and his eyes looked like fireballs. He was fixedly staring at the hole as some patterns appeared in his eyes. Those are demonic marks. Yuan Fei's fire-red eyes turned dark again. The mirror released terrifying lights once again and another gigantic hole appeared. The older Zun cultivator of the Qi clan frowned. That ground was really hard. He had seemingly managed to make a small dent. Move! Shouted the cultivator furiously. The mirror rose up in the air and became even larger while releasing even more energies. Break! Shouted the older Zun cultivator of the Qi clan. The hole, which was 100 meters deep, became even larger. What's that? Tungsten? Demonic marks? The crowd was trying to identify the rock. A block of what seemed to be tungsten was uncovered. It was pitch black but diffused golden lights. There were also some marks on it, black marks, which looked like demonic holy marks. The Zun cultivator of the Qi clan continued attacking the ground with his mirror. The hole was becoming wider at quite a fast pace. It was now 10,000 meters wide. What's that? An older Zun cultivator can't even break it with his ancient broken space mirror. Lin Feng looked at the mirror. He was almost scared. It was terrifying to see an older Zun cultivator use a peerless weapon. If even part of those lights touched him, he would die instantly. The older Zun cultivator from the Qi clan stopped and put the ancient broken space mirror away. You saw how terrifying that thing is. Now, should we all go inside together and break that thing? No, really? Then many silhouettes jumped down. They didn't need the older Zun cultivator from the Qi clan to tell them. They obviously all wanted to go down and see. Be careful, said Yuan Fei to Lin Feng, and then they both dived into the hole too. Then, 100 meters later, they landed on the hard black substance. Lin Feng struck the demonic marks with sword Qi, but it was pointless. He touched them with his hands. It felt like a cold armor. What kind of metal is that? My sword can't even scratch it. And the ancient broken space mirror can't break it either, said Lin Feng, looking at Yuan Fei. He was wondering if Yuan Fei had already seen that. But Yuan Fei didn't know either. It's not a metal, it's a seal, shouted someone. Did such a terrifying sealing strength exist? Chapter 1264. When Emperors Show Up, a Seal. Lin Feng was surprised. If that was a seal, it meant something incredibly powerful was hiding behind it. Even an older Zun cultivator's peerless weapon couldn't break it, So just what was sealed inside? Does it have anything to do with the 3 lives great emperor? Thought Lin Feng. If a great emperor had cast that sealing spell, then a Zun cultivator couldn't break it. Even if an emperor had been sealed inside, he wouldn't have been able to come out. Qi Yun, can you continue breaking the surrounding earth? We need to see how big the seal is. It might help us understand what's inside, said someone to the older Zun cultivator from the Qi clan. Qi Yun looked unhappy but said, "All right, I'll help." Qi Yun then continued attacking the earth with his mirror. Many strong cultivators cleaned around the dust, pebbles and pieces of stones. The area was becoming wider and wider. Only a great emperor could have the strength necessary to cast such a powerful sealing spell, whispered Lin Feng. The distance between cultivators would be wider the stronger you got. It was as if the sealing stone had taken the entire space of the Yunhai mountain range. Time passed slowly as only the strongest cultivators could break the walls around the hole. With a mirror, it took them half an hour to make out the entire sealing stone. Let's go up. Some silhouettes rose up in the air to see the stone in its entirety from the sky. Lin Feng also rose up in the air and looked at that gigantic pitch-black sealing stone. It was hundreds of meters wide. The marks were all interconnected and nobody could understand them, even cultivators at the top of the Zunqi layer. In the antiquity, there was a gigantic sealing stone which could seal demonic strength. According to legends, that gigantic demon seal stone ended up in the hands of a peerless cultivator, said a cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer from the Si Kong clan. The demon sealing great emperor, whispered many people. They all thought of a particular name when they heard the strong cultivator from the Si Kong clan talk. After sealing the demonic emperor, the demon sealing great emperor studied sealing strength and created 3,681 variants of the demon sealing technique. Then he broke the stone. Has anyone found all the pieces so that the whole stone could be made again? As those strong cultivators were talking about the demon seal stones, Lin Feng's head started pounding. The demon sealing great emperor had managed to break the demon seal stone because he was convinced he didn't need it anymore. His body was as strong as the demon seal stone, so he could seal demons using his own strength. Lin Feng lowered his head and looked at the gigantic seal. Had the demon sealing great emperor those people were talking about made that seal? If that great emperor had done it, what had he sealed inside? At that moment, the cultivators at the top of the Zunqi layer glanced at each other. They hadn't anticipated something so incredible. The sealing great emperor might have sealed an emperor in there. In the distance, on the Black Wind Mountain, there was an ancient tree, and on that tree, there was a Taoist monk, Yan Di. At that moment, Yan Di looked solemn and respectful. He didn't look conceited or playful. Those bastards, they found it too early, thought Yan Di. Everybody, let's try to break it together at the same time, said an older Zun cultivator from the Wen clan. Many people nodded and started releasing a terrifying strength. They were trying to activate the demonic marks, but it was useless. Very quickly, the older Zun cultivators gave up. We need an emperor to help, said Yuan Fei to Lin Feng. They hadn't thought that they would find such an incredible treasure in such a tiny country. Even normal emperors would need to be incredible to break such a thing. Lin Feng frowned. He was thinking, inviting an emperor to Shuiyu? Was that a good thing or a bad thing? If there was an incredible peerless cultivator inside, what would happen? If an emperor broke the seal and that nobody could control the thing or person sealed inside, Shuiyu might be destroyed. Boom! At that moment, someone broke a talisman and a terrifying Qi appeared. The crowd looked in the direction of the Qi clan. They're calling an emperor. The crowd was astonished. A part of the sky turned into a mirror and a silhouette appeared inside. An emperor, the emperor of the Qi clan, thought the crowd astonished. The emperor looked at the ground and he was surprised too. He just whispered, "A seal." "Indeed, your imperial majesty, maybe that the demon sealing emperor created it," said the Qi clan in a respectful way. The emperor seemed pensive. Boom, boom, boom. The atmosphere suddenly changed, clouds furiously rolled and a silhouette in white clothes suddenly appeared in the air and looked at the emperor of the Qi clan. Then, the silhouette descended from the sky and landed on the seal. Soul imprint. Yuan Fei was astonished. The Wen clan was terribly interested in that treasure. Even the soul imprint of the emperor from the Wen clan was there. It looks like the same thing Mr. Xiao did to me last time, whispered Lin Feng. The emperor of the Wen clan looked pensive, then he raised his head and said, "Don't let anyone touch that sealed area before I arrive." His voice sounded very serious. The crowd was astonished, but they nodded back. All the powerful groups broke their talismans to inform their emperors. The Wen clan's hologram disappeared, but everybody knew that the emperors were coming. The emperors were coming to Shuiyu. Chapter 1265. Syllogistic Devamara Chains, Emperors, whispered Lin Feng. He didn't look excited. Having Zun cultivators in Shuiyu was already a problem, so emperors. Besides, only emperors seemed capable of breaking that seal, which meant that whatever was inside would be problematic. The Three Lives Demon Emperor has been here and Yen Di was sealed here. Now, another emperor as incredible as the Three Lives Demon Emperor, the Demon Sealing Emperor. 3 great emperors appeared here in the past. What is inside? Thought Lin Feng worried. Everybody, move away from the seal and let's seal the space, said the older Zun cultivator from the Wen clan indifferently. Everybody rose up in the air and moved away. Lin Feng and Yuan Fei moved back to the edge of the crater as Yuan Fei said, "Lin Feng, the Qi clan's emperor will do something soon, so you should leave. There are so many strong cultivators, even if those historical remains contain incredible treasures, we won't get anything." Lin Feng smiled. He understood what Yuan Fei meant. Emperors were incredible, and even if Lin Feng had Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, he couldn't deal with emperors still. "Where could I escape to if an emperor wanted to kill me?" said Lin Feng, laughing and shaking his head. Shuiyu was a tiny country and Lin Feng was only a cultivator of the Tianqi layer. If an emperor meant him harm, he wouldn't have any say. Besides, the emperor of the Qi clan would never attack Lin Feng because of Qi Tiansheng. That would tarnish his reputation, and also, emperors didn't really care about weak cultivators. Yuan Fei didn't say anything more. Indeed, Lin Feng posed no threat to the Qi clan, so the emperor of the Qi clan wouldn't do anything to him. In the distance, a strong wind blew. The earth and sky were shaking as a silhouette arrived. How fast, thought Lin Feng amazed. The Wen clan's emperor arrived quickly because the Tian Su teleportation portal is in their territory. Yuan Fei reminded Lin Feng. The members of the Wen clan looked delighted. They all bowed before their emperor. Even though they were all from the same clan, he was their highest figure. Lin Feng watched the emperor. The emperor walked to the center of the seal and a terrifying force assaulted it. Boom boom, the ground shook violently. Lin Feng groaned. He felt like his body was going to explode. The seal shook a little. The emperor from the Wen clan rose up in the air and glanced at the gigantic pitch-black seal stone. He was surprised. "The demon sealing great emperor must have done that," whispered the emperor from the Wen clan. If they knew that Yen Di was also there and that his soul had almost been crushed to death, how would they feel? But the emperor of the Wen clan remained silent. He simply continued studying the seal. As the emperor said nothing, the crowd didn't dare talk either. The atmosphere was eerily silent. In the distance, the wind emitted whistling sounds again. Many of them had to close their eyes because the enormous amount of dust brought by that wind. When the wind calmed down, they opened their eyes to find that someone else had arrived. "Your Imperial Majesty." All the strong cultivators of the Si Kong clan, from Central Ba Huang bowed before their emperor. Emperor Si Kong's facial expression looked strange. It was as if he was trying to understand what the situation was about. He too stared at the demonic marks. Boom! After a short while, Emperor Si Kong groaned furiously and closed his eyes, looking upset. Emperor Si Kong had a celestial vision, like Si Kong Shao. However, he had hurt his eyes when he used his celestial vision on the stone. What a terrifying seal stone! "What did you see?" asked Emperor Wen to Emperor Si Kong. Emperor Si Kong opened his eyes again and said, 3,681 demon sealing techniques. I used my celestial vision on the seal, but my eyes almost sealed themselves. In the distance, 3 silhouettes arrived at the same time, the emperors from the magic world Heavenly Palace, the Qi clan and the godly Xiao Yao sect. Their respective groups bowed before them. However, as each of the three emperors arrived and tried to break the seal, they all failed as well. "What do you think?" asked Emperor Wen to the emperors. "We need to understand what kind of sealing strength that is to find its weakness. Otherwise, we won't be able to break it. Right, we need to understand what kind of sealing technique it is first. If you don't try, how can you know it won't break?" said someone loudly in the distance. Someone was arriving and they were exuding golden lights which reached far and wide. That person's speed was even scarier than his voice. "Emperor Peng," whispered the few emperors. Golden lights appeared in the sky as it looked like a gigantic, supernatural bird blotted out the sky. "Emperor Peng, you want to break the seal using strength?" asked Emperor Wen indifferently. Emperor Peng from the Bestial Imperial Palace and Mo Peng, one of the 10 strongest young cultivators, were the only 2 supernatural birds from the Ba Huang province. "If we don't try, how can we know that we can't break it?" asked Emperor Peng. He opened his golden wings and with the sun was reflecting on them, dazzling golden lights lit the area. "Caw!" Emperor Peng cawed furiously and peeked down, turning into a dazzling beam of light. Boom boom! He crashed onto the seal stone and the gigantic stone shook in response. Some of the people watching groaned in pain and coughed up blood. "How terrifying! Emperor Peng, even with your strength, you can't break that sealing technique," said Emperor Wen. Emperor Peng was now staring at the seal stone. What was that sorcery? It seemed like brute force was not the solution. "Good heavens," said a loud voice. The crowd turned around, surprised. What was that Taoist monk doing there? "He's here too," thought Lin Feng. Back then, he was sealed in the Yunhai mountain range, so maybe he knew what was going on. "Dear emperors, I know what kind of sealing technique that is," said the Taoist monk sounding confident and at ease. The emperors looked at him skeptically. That Zun-level Taoist monk knew what sealing technique that was? "Tell us then," said Emperor Qi to Yen Di. "You can look at the detailed demonic marks. If you divide them into 8 parts, you'll see 8 gigantic doors. You don't need to look at the whole pattern, just looked at one door," said Yen Di. The emperors looked at the patterns again and very quickly, they were astonished. Indeed, they could see 8 doors. "What kind of sealing technique is that though?" asked Emperor Wen to Yen Di. "Syllogistic Devamara seal, it is capable of sealing any demon," said Yen Di calmly. Chapter 1266, Yen Di fooling emperors, Syllogistic Devamara seal, it can seal any demon. The emperors were trying to see through Yen Di. A trivial Zun cultivator knew what the Syllogistic Devamara sealing technique was. They knew the sealing great emperor used it, but they had only heard of it though. "How can we break it?" asked Emperor Peng to Yen Di. "Forgive me for being straightforward. The demon sealing emperor used the Syllogistic Devamara sealing technique here, so there might be a terrifying demon underneath. You should think about giving up. If a demon came out, I fear that even emperors wouldn't be able to deal with him. The consequences could be tragic," said Yen Di in a very serious way. However, Lin Feng was convinced. Yen Di was trying to admonish with well-meant words even if it was risky. Besides, if he didn't wanted them to break the seal, did he need to tell them? They had been trying to break it for a while already without success. So why had he come now and tell them that? "What is that bastard doing?" thought Lin Feng. Was Yen Di going to offend emperors? The emperors were guessing that this guy knew something. "If you know anything, then talk," said Emperor Peng. His silhouette flickered and he landed before Yen Di. His hand turned into sharp claws as he grabbed Yen Di by the throat. The 8 Syllogistic Devamara chains sealing technique has been cast on these 8 doors. You can find the entrance amongst these doors with the strength of 8 emperors by spilling a drop of blood on each door and it will activate the demonic marks. Then, you can use your strength to break the seals," said Yen Di calmly. He didn't look scared at all. Lin Feng started thinking that Yen Di was telling the truth. "If you said even only one lie, I can guarantee you that the consequences will be tragic," said Emperor Peng to Yen Di. His silhouette flickered and he landed on one of the 8 doors. If a Zun cultivator actually lied to an emperor, he would die. "We need 2 more people," thought the emperors on their respective spots. "We're here too," said 2 people in the distance. A strong wind began blowing again. One of them was wearing a fire robe. It was Emperor Yan from the Fire Mountain in western Bahuang, and the other one was Emperor Tianlong from Tianlong Divine Castle. "Since you're here, let's start," said Emperor Peng indifferently. Emperor Tianlong and Emperor Yan landed on their respective doors. 8 emperors and 8 doors, thought the crowd. Was that Taoist monk speaking the truth? "If you lied, you'll die," threatened Emperor Tianlong to Yan Di aggressively. At that moment, amongst the group of strong cultivators from Fire Mountain, Fu Hei frowned. He felt like something wrong. If it was someone else, he would have been convinced that they wouldn't cheat an emperor, but maybe that specific Taoist monk would. But in any case, he couldn't say anything to the emperors. He was too weak to give his opinion. "Don't worry, your Imperial Majesties, you are all incredibly strong. Just spill a drop of blood on the 8 doors and with your strength, you'll be able to break the Devamara seals," said Yan Di calmly and serenely. All the emperors nodded, and at the same time they released chi which dashed to the skies. Then, they gave up a drop of blood, Imperial blood. Their blood fell on the seals, and instantly, the demonic marks seemed to come to life. The pitch-black demonic marks began moving and a terrifying strength emerged. The Devamara chains appeared. The crowd could see chains appearing on the gigantic black sealing stones. It was as if an emperor had been holding those chains and had sealed a terrifying and peerless demon with them. The chains suddenly ramped and clung to the 8 emperors' legs, constricting them. The syllogistic Devamara chains which can seal terrifying godly demons. That's a demon sealing territory, so you can only blame yourselves for bringing about your own destruction, said Yan Di, sounding aggressive and imposing now. That Taoist monk had actually dared to fool those emperors. Roar! At that moment, the earth and skies started roaring and chi dashed to the skies. The 8 emperors were now stuck by the chains. "You want to die," shouted Emperor Peng. His body was quickly surrounded by golden lights which illuminated the atmosphere. "Break, break," shouted Emperor Peng. It almost seemed like he was about to break the chains, but they turned into pitch-black demonic marks and they constricted him even more. "Die!" shouted the great oriental greenfinch rock at Yan Di. He released dazzling sword energies which moved towards Yan Di. However, Yan Di remained calm under that pressure. He broke something in his hand and an explosion sounded, then he disappeared. "Emperors, offer yourselves as a sacrifice," said a loud voice coming from the sky. It was Yan Di's voice, but he had already disappeared from everyone's vision. "You'll die," shouted Emperor Peng furiously. Cough, cough. Lin Feng coughed up blood. His face had turned deathly pale. Yuan Fei was confused too. His face was also deathly pale. The ground was shaking and the golden lights were shaking the space aggressively. "Let's go," shouted Lin Feng. Everybody was running away with them. That bastard Yan Di, just what is he planning? Thought Lin Feng. He hadn't truly believed that he would cheat emperors. Boom, boom, boom. Emperor Tianlong also tried to attack the chains, but it was useless. Emperor Qi and Emperor Wen also tried, but as before, they failed. The emperors' faces turned deathly pale, like sheets of paper. "Who dares attack me?" shouted Emperor Peng furiously. "No, bastard! I will destroy you!" Emperor Tianlong had turned into a dragon, but his vitality was draining as well. "Emperors, offer yourselves as a sacrifice." The crowd remembered what Yan Di had said when he left, then their faces turned pale. What kind of terrifying thing was that stone? "Let's attack the sealing strength together," said Emperor Wen. The emperors all sensed that their vitality was being absorbed. "All right. Together," said everybody. A golden, great oriental greenfinch rock appeared, a dragon, a gigantic hand, a gigantic fire hand. The 8 emperors were joining hands. "Let's go." The crowd in the distance realized how urgent it was for them to get farther away. Lin Feng and Yuan Fei jumped onto Lin Feng's gigantic sword. They were still coughing blood and their faces were deathly pale. However, the syllogistic Devamara chains still weren't moving. After their joint efforts, a crack had appeared. Boom, boom, boom. In the distance, 2 silhouettes appeared. "What's the matter, everyone?" said someone indifferently. One of them was the emperor from the Thunderbirds clan. I'm here too. Yuan Fei gazed into the distance and saw the great ape emperor. Chapter 1267. The 9 Songs, Emperor Thunder, Emperor Ape, help us break the seals, said Emperor Peng aggressively. Emperor Peng was from the bestial imperial palace in the brutal part of Ba Huang. He was incredibly aggressive, even those 2 emperors didn't want to confront him. Emperor Peng, what should I do? Asked the Thunderbird Emperor, Emperor Lei. He was afraid to offend Emperor Peng. Even though they were sealed, after breaking the seals, those emperors would deal with anyone who had offended them. The 8 of us have attacked the chains at the same time, but it didn't work. Attack with us, we will all attack the center of the seal stone. The demon sealing emperors sealed that place, said Emperor Peng. He knew what Emperor Lei was thinking. He also hoped that Emperor Lei would be stuck on the sealing stone as well. All right, let me try, said Emperor Lei. He landed on the central part of the gigantic sealed territory and attacked it with thunderous energies. Together, shouted Emperor Peng furiously. Why would he help though? Said Yuan Fei. The great ape emperor wasn't willing to help, but if the emperors managed to break free, they'd have to settle accounts afterwards if he didn't help them now. Lin Feng nodded. Those emperors weren't at all friends. People like Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu were rare. After all, they came from the same place. Lin Feng, said someone in the distance. He turned around and saw Yan Di. However, Yan Di had turned into Qiong Qi again. You actually came back, said Lin Feng using telepathy. How insane. If the emperors discovered it was him, they'd kill him. Apart from you, who knows me? Said Qiong Qi disdainfully. Then he smiled and said, I'm your friend, Qiong Qi the Ancient, wild beast, aren't I? If you say so, said Lin Feng. If anyone found out who Qiong Qi was, they'd kill Lin Feng too. At that moment, Qiong Qi arrived next to Lin Feng. Yuan Fei looked surprised as he said, Lin Feng, is that your pet? PFFF. You should say he's my pet. I'm an emperor, said Qiong Qi aggressively. Yuan Fei scratched his head. Qiong Qi had a bad temper. Bastard, what happened down there? What's that? Who sealed you? Did both the 3 Lives Great Emperor and the Demon Sealing Emperor really appear here back then? Asked Lin Feng using telepathy. Don't ask so much, I can only tell you that here, the 3 Lives Great Emperor and the Demon Sealing Emperors are not the only ones who have come. A battle between great emperors took place here, one which not only took place in a small world. Lin Feng, you already have some extremely strong demonic skills. Excellent, I'll give you another incredible gift. I hope you'll always remember me, said Qiong Qi. His eyes were twinkling. What was he doing? A gift? He definitely knew what was under the seal. Boom, boom, boom. At that moment, the crowd shook again. The emperors were still trying to break free from the chains and several more emperors had arrived. Apart from Emperor Lei and the great ape emperor, Emperor Niu Mo from Mang Niu Mountain and the Buddha emperor, with his golden body, from the celestial thunder temple had also arrived. Not far from them was a beautiful girl. It was Empress Raja from the Heavens of Desire's palace. There was also a perverted-looking emperor. The gigantic sealed stone was already cracking. The chained emperors' faces were deathly pale by this point. Everybody help us. There are some treasures here, said Emperor Qi to the newcomers. However, everybody remained silent and ignored him. Initially, the great ape emperor and Emperor Lei were alone, so they had to help, but now there were so many more emperors. If there were tensions between all those emperors, a great war would consume Ba Huang. Gotcha! At that moment, a terrifying strength appeared below them. The thing sealed underneath also wants to break free, thought the crowd. Like the 8 emperors, the thing sealed under the stone also wanted to escape. Boom! The demonic marks were cracking even more. The seal is breaking, thought Lin Feng. However, terrifying energies suddenly emerged from the demonic marks and black clouds condensed in the sky. A demon, thought Lin Feng. Yan Di had told him he would offer him an incredible gift which was related to his demon skills. Did the thing sealed under that stone have anything to do with it? What a terrifying demonic energy, thought Yuan Fei shaking. Hoo. Some sounds came from under the ground. Someone was wailing in a cruel way. That demonic song emitted sound waves filled with demonic energies. The 8 chained emperors were now turning into demons. Empress Raja, what's that song? Asked the emperors to the incredibly beautiful empress from the heavens of Desire's palace. I don't know, it's a demonic song, so it's not like my attacks, said the empress. The demon song was influencing everyone, turning them into demons. That demon energy is terrifying, thought Lin Feng. Lin Feng wanted to leave, but he could barely move. He needed to study those demonic energies. Even though Lin Feng had studied powerful demonic skills, he still didn't understand demon abstruse energies, nor did he know where to study them. 9 dark clouds, the demonic source. 9 netherworlds, demonic song, one of the 9 most powerful songs of the continent, thought Empress Raja. In the entire country, including Yangzhou City, everyone raised their heads and saw those black clouds. There's someone. At that moment, 2 people appeared in the sky above those clouds. One was pitch black, his pitch black hair was fluttering in the wind. Even though he was calmly standing there, his demonic energies were terrifying. He seemed to be the king of demons, the master of demons, the demon emperor. In his arms was a woman and she was motionless. The demon emperor looked sad. 9 demonic song. Chapter 1268. Goddess, Empress, she's grave. Everybody raised their heads to see what was going on. A great demon emperor is sealed here. The demons sealing great emperor had been to a tiny country like Shuiyu, and inside that stone, another great emperor was sealed. As expected, the demon sealing technique had been used to seal a demon emperor. The demon emperor in the sky looked calm. He was observing the crowd in a disdainful way. Who could compete with him in the world? The 9 netherworlds demonic song could make people turn into demons. Apart from that terrifying demonic energy, people also sensed some sadness, the sadness of a fallen emperor. The demon emperor also has emotions, thought Lin Feng. It reminded him of back in Shuiyu when he had used the demonic sword because Meng Qing had turned into an animal. He still hasn't lost his emotions completely. Lin Feng released his own demonic qi, but he didn't do it on purpose. In Shuiyu, many people could hear the 9 netherworlds demoniac song, and a black qi was slowly emerging from their bodies. If I met such a man, even if I grew old and weren't as beautiful as now, that wouldn't be a problem, thought Renlei, who was watching from a distance. Gotcha! The 8 emperors were still struggling. Especially the great oriental greenfinch rock. His dazzling golden energies were turning black and his eyes were also becoming black. A stupid demon emperor's obsessiveness, you won't turn me turn into a demon. Just break, shouted the great oriental greenfinch rock looking at the sky. The demon emperor in the sky only moved a little. He looked at Emperor Peng in a disdainful way. The demon song started ringing even louder in Emperor Peng's brain, tearing him down again. A stupid demon emperor? The crowd didn't agree. That demon emperor was terrifying. Who's that? Lin Feng understood that incredibly strong demonic cultivators could force their enemies into submission just by looking at them. The Netherworld Demon Emperor. It's just a thread of energy here which hasn't dispersed for thousands of years, said Qiong Qi using telepathy. That was a demon emperor, a great emperor, could do all of this with just a little thread of energy which hadn't died in thousands of years. The Netherworld Demon Emperor has emotions. Why did the demons sealing great emperor seal him? And you? Who sealed you? What's going on? Asked Lin Feng to Qiong Qi. Since you want to know more, I can tell you a bit. In the continent of the 9 clouds, there are 9 godly demonic forbidden songs. The Netherworld Demon Emperor can control one of the songs, the 9 Netherworlds demonic song. Because of the woman he's holding in his arms died, he wanted to kill the 3 lives great emperor, and then a great war took place here. If you look at the sealed area carefully, you'll realize it's a grave, said Yen Di to Lin Feng using telepathy. You can see the gravestone there, said Yen Di looking at the main peak of the Yunhai mountain range. After everything was destroyed in the mountain range, a gigantic gravestone had appeared. Do you want to go and see what's written on it? It has something to do with you. With me. Lin Feng was astonished. What did the Netherworld Demon Emperor's gravestone have to do with him? Let's go. Lin Feng jumped on Qiongqi, still surrounded by demonic qi. Then, Qiongqi flew towards the gravestone. Lin Feng, shouted Yuan Fei when he saw that Lin Feng was suddenly leaving. It was too dangerous. Even cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer didn't want to get close. I'm going to see something there, shouted Lin Feng to Yuan Fei. You little bastard, let me come with you. Then Yuan Fei followed him. You disgrace. Come back, shouted the great ape emperor to Yuan Fei. His silhouette flickered and he appeared in front of Yuan Fei. I'm just going to see something with Lin Feng, said Yuan Fei smiling. The old man shrugged and smiled. The great ape emperor had huge eyes as he looked at Yuan Fei and then decided to follow. Finally, Lin Feng and Qiongqi landed in front of the gravestone. Lin Feng read it. Goddess, Empress Xi's grave. Those words contained an incredible qi, but the qi didn't contain any sadness. Here is Empress Xi's grave, surprisingly, but what does that have to do with me? Thought Lin Feng. He asked Qiongqi using telepathy, why does it have something to do with me and why is it written goddess? Of course it has something to do with you. Would you dare come with me to the sky and look at the girl the Netherworld Demon Emperor is holding? Said Qiongqi using telepathy. Tell me first, what role did you play during the Great Emperor's War? Asked Lin Feng. He knew too much. I robbed graves, said Yan Di. Lin Feng was astonished. Yan Di was a robber? You, a great emperor, was robbing tombs? Lin Feng was speechless. I wasn't the only one. The Netherworld Demon Emperor had also robbed tombs, that's why he died. But she was already dead then, so emotions were useless. He made a mistake as a demon emperor, he practiced demonic cultivation and he fell because of a beautiful woman. Said Yan Di disdainfully. For him, having emotions was a tragedy, he can only blame himself. He fell in love with a beautiful woman, but it was a one-sided love. Said Yan Di. Trust me and come with me, let's go and see the Demon Emperor, said Qiongqi to Lin Feng using telepathy. You're not trying to cheat me, are you? Said Lin Feng. He had fooled the 8 emperors, so Lin Feng was a bit scared. Bastard, you don't trust me. Don't forget what the diviner said. I'll tell you the truth, I don't have much of my soul now, even if I continue becoming stronger, I'll never be a great emperor again. I must rely on you. Therefore, I will do my best to make you become a great emperor. Now, I will show you how lucky you are. It's a great opportunity, don't miss it or you'll regret it forever. Said Yan Di to Lin Feng using telepathy. Lin Feng thought about it briefly and nodded. All right, let's go up there and see the Netherworld Demon Emperor. Then they both rose up in the air. Chapter 1269. The Inheritor. Many people raised their heads and saw 2 silhouettes rising in the air towards the demonic emperor. Lin Feng was on Qiongqi's back and his heart was pounding. He had never been that high up in the sky before and in front of him, there was a great demon emperor. Boom! A terrifying qi was blowing and brushing against their bodies. It felt like that at any moment, they could turn into demons. Finally, they arrived just underneath the Netherworld Demon Emperor and they could see him clearly. Netherworld Demon Emperor, do you remember Yan Di from back in the days? Asked Qiongqi to the Netherworld Demon Emperor using his godly awareness. Yan Di. That voice resonated in Lin Feng and Yan Di's brains. He lowered his head and looked at them. Lin Feng's soul shook. It was like the Netherworld Demon Emperor was going to take control over his soul. Indeed, Yan Di, said Qiongqi. He used his godly awareness to converse with him. Back then, you risked your life for Empress Xi and died, otherwise, who could have stopped you? Now, Empress Xi is coming back to life, but you have nothing besides a remainder of your soul left. Empress Xi coming back to life. The Netherworld Demon Emperor looked at them evilly. Those huge black clouds rolled in the sky of Shuiyu. Indeed, inspect his soul and you'll know everything, said Yan Di to the Netherworld Demon Emperor. He lowered his head and looked at Lin Feng with his pitch-black eyes. Boom! The Demon Emperor inspected Lin Feng's thoughts. Lin Feng's soul shook violently, but he couldn't do anything against that strength. Why? Whispered the Netherworld Demon Emperor. He could see everything Lin Feng knew, his entire life even. Right, Empress Xi is coming back to life, but your soul will disperse soon. I found an inheritor for you, and I think the 9 netherworld's demonic song shouldn't disappear. It's great, right? Said Yen Di using telepathy. Are you not afraid that I could kill you? Asked the netherworld demon emperor coldly. You won't. Put your thoughts in him and fuse together with his body. Let your soul flow throughout his body. Then, you'll be able to stay with Empress Shi for your entire life. Said Qiongqi. The netherworld demon emperor's facial expression changed. Using Lin Feng's body to stay with Empress Shi for the rest of his life? He lowered his head, he looked so sad. Boom! At that moment, Lin Feng sensed a gigantic hand grab his body. Then the demon emperor put him in the 9 netherworld's water source. 9 songs, 9 netherworld songs, said the netherworld demon emperor. Lin Feng sensed the evil water flow throughout his body, but it didn't destroy his body. Instead, it turned into a beautiful melody resonating in his head. Lin Feng was astonished. He now realized that Yen Di had succeeded. However, Lin Feng was also a bit angry. Yen Di had taken so many risks. Lin Feng closed his eyes and sat down cross-legged in the evil water. The source of the 9 netherworlds continued flowing throughout his body. The crowd was astonished. What was going on? Why was Lin Feng sitting cross-legged in the 9 netherworlds water? Only Qiongqi, Lin Feng and the demon emperor knew what they had talked about. At that moment, many people in Shuiyu raised their heads as well and saw Lin Feng, their king, sitting cross-legged in the sky, in the 9 netherworld source. Qiongqi was sweating. He had gambled and it had worked. You're right, the 9 netherworld's song can't be forgotten. However, even if Empress Shi comes back to life, she won't be the same as before, so staying with her all the time would be pointless. Said the 9 netherworld's demon while looking at the beautiful girl in his arms. What's the point in protecting her grave? She's already dead. Said the netherworld demon emperor looking at the gigantic grave. Then, the netherworld demon emperor looked at Lin Feng and said, when you master the 9 netherworld's demoniac song, if you feel like it, help me and kill the 3 lives demon. Then a soul penetrated into Lin Feng's third eye and the netherworld demon emperor disappeared. Even though you fell, I'll stay with you because I still love you, said a loud voice. Finally, the demonic energies dispersed and the evil water disappeared. Lin Feng's third eye now contained a terrifying demonic awareness as his eyes were pitch black. When the netherworld demon emperor left, he had decided to leave a thread of awareness with Lin Feng. When you master the 9 netherworld's demonic song, if you feel like it, help me by killing the 3 lives demon emperor, whispered Lin Feng. 3 lives great emperor, the netherworld demon emperor, the demon sealing great emperor, Empress Shi, what were their relations? And that gravestone, who made it? The demon sealing great emperor had sealed the netherworld demon emperor, but why did he want him to kill the 3 lives great emperor? And it also seemed that Yen Di had convinced the netherworld demon emperor to stay with Empress Shi because of her dead body. Was it on purpose to make the demon sealing great emperor seal again? With the last thread of soul you have, what should you do? Said Lin Feng to the silhouette which had disappeared already. Boom, boom, boom. Loud sounds made Lin Feng come back to his senses. He looked at the ground and saw the strong cultivators struggling. There were even more and more crack marks. They would probably break free soon. Break! Emperor Peng looked like a demon at that moment. His chi was dashing to the skies. He was surrounded by golden and demonic chi. The 7 other emperors were struggling too, but they were about to succeed. The netherworld demon emperor had been able to break free from the sealing energies, which proved that they weren't as strong as before. Boom! Finally, the demonic marks were broken and the seals were broken with them. Who can stop me? Shouted the great oriental greenfinch rock. At that moment, he looked like a corrupted bird. The other emperors broke free from the seals too, but they didn't look as terrifying. Their faces were also deathly pale. Damn seals! Finally free. Haha, finally, they broke. Empress Shi is dead, the demon emperor is gone. Who can stop me now? Qiongqi and Lin Feng flew away as fast as they could. Everybody was suddenly captivated by the grave. Shuiyu was filled with dazzling lights and a gigantic palace was emerging from the sealed area. Robbing tombs. No wonder Cheong-chi wanted to rob tombs. Those are Empress Shi and the Netherworld Demon Emperor's small worlds, thought Lin Feng. Chapter 1270, Peerless Cultivator. When you robbed tombs, the Netherworld Demon Emperor was still there, so you must have robbed Empress Shi's tomb while not hiding your great emperor status? Asked Lin Feng to Cheong-chi using telepathy. What did he want to do? And why goddess? The Empress has incredible treasures, said Cheong-chi. His eyes were twinkling. Then he asked Lin Feng, and don't you want to know why I said that all this had something to do with you? Do I need to ask? Said Lin Feng, smiling wryly. He obviously understood from what Cheong-chi had said to the Netherworld Demon Emperor. You're not as dumb as you seem then. So now you understand what I meant last time, said Cheong-chi, smiling. Lin Feng rolled his eyes. He meant he wanted Lin Feng to have a child? Look, it's getting chaotic over there, said Lin Feng. Rumbling sounds appeared as palaces rose. The area turned into a fairyland. The emperors think they're free because they broke the seal. They must still want to die, said Cheong-chi disdainfully. The emperors from Ba Huang province had the advantage in terms of number, but did they think they'd have the advantage over the sealed emperor? Shuiyu is going to be rich, said Cheong-chi. 2 small worlds had appeared in Shuiyu, so Shuiyu would certainly rise in the future. Empress Shi's small world was beautiful. It had a celestial qi, waterfalls appeared and it was gigantic. From now on, Empress Shi's palace had replaced the Yunhai mountain range and the Black Wind mountain. At the same time, the Netherworld Demon Emperor's small world rose up too, but it was even larger than Empress Shi's. It had a circular form and had surrounded Empress Shi's territory as if it were protecting it. Are those great emperor's small worlds? How spectacular, thought Lin Feng. He was inspecting all those buildings. The Netherworld Demon Emperor's palaces were gigantic and lofty. Is that small world going to expand to Yangzhou City? Thought Lin Feng. If that small world was a few dozens of thousands kilometers wide, it would reach Yangzhou City. Lin Feng, come down, shouted Yuan Fei. The emperors had already started fighting in the sky in order to not destroy the small worlds. How fast, thought the crowd when they saw all those people moving towards the small worlds. Pure qi rolled in waves and it was an incredible energy. Lin Feng entered the small world and instantly felt great. Everybody get out, shouted someone. It was Emperor Peng. Emperor Peng's qi contained some black threads and even his eyes had turned black. Did you see? That's the strength of the 9 Netherworlds' demonic song. One glance and people will become demons. Emperor Peng has already started turning into a demon, said Cheong-chi to Lin Feng using telepathy. Some of the emperors are falling, thought the crowd. Piss off or I'll kill everyone, shouted Emperor Peng furiously. At that moment, clouds rolled in the sky. Everybody raised their heads and saw the strong cultivators. A face appeared. It looked aggressive, domineering, and majestic. People had the feeling they were going to suffocate. Finally, someone said, "All the emperors get the hell out of this country and never come back," shouted an aggressive voice. "Who do you think you are?" shouted Emperor Peng furiously and aggressively. The face looked at him and oppressive energies descended from the sky and surrounded him. The crowd saw a gigantic hand and many people emitted horrible shrieks. They closed their eyes, they didn't dare look. Was it their judgment day? When they opened their eyes, their faces turned deathly pale. Emperor Peng was in the gigantic hand, qi was whistling, the space was shaking. No matter how insane he had got, he couldn't escape from that hand. "How dare you talk that way? You're really confident for a little bird. Even the Dragon Emperor and the Phoenix don't dare talk to me that way," said that person in the sky aggressively. It was as if God had been talking. "If you don't want me to cripple your cultivation or kill you, piss off," said that strong cultivator in the sky. Then, Emperor Peng immediately disappeared. "If you dare come back, I'll destroy you," said the voice to Emperor Peng as he ran away. "All the emperors, piss off and leave this place. The same to you, if you dare come back I'll kill you." No matter which emperor, they'd die if they came back to Shuiyu. Then, they all ran away with their tails between their legs. Chapter 1271. Because of the 3 lives scriptures, they're gone. The crowd was speechless. The emperors had disappeared in the blink of an eye, and a cultivator in the sky had made them leave with only a sentence. "Who is he?" said Lin Feng, looking at the sky. Had a terrifying great emperor appeared again? He had just seen the demon emperor's remaining soul, and now there seemed to be another great emperor. "Who do you think?" said Qiongqi to Lin Feng using telepathy. Lin Feng tried to understand. When the seals were broken, the netherworld demon emperor left, and then a great emperor had appeared. Maybe he had sensed that the seal had been broken. "The demon sealing great emperor," whispered Lin Feng. Qiongqi didn't reply. Lin Feng didn't ask more, but he was convinced that the great emperor was the demon sealing great emperor. Maybe it was the one who had made Empress Shi's gravestone. Lin Feng didn't know if the demon sealing great emperor was also the one who had made the gravestone. And what role had the 3 lives great emperor played? After thousands of years, the remaining thread of soul from the netherworld demon emperor still hadn't forgotten about him. When you master the 9 netherworld's demonic song, if you feel like it, help me and kill the 3 lives demon emperor. However, the 3 lives great emperor was a terrifying cultivator. Even if Lin Feng had the 9 netherworld's demonic song, which was a terrifying skill, how long would he need to master it at such a high level? Finally, the strong cultivator looked at the 2 worlds and sighed. Fate would determine the rest. This country is small and weak. Even if you obtain treasures, you can't harm its people. Remember to act humane, said the silhouette in the sky. Everybody nodded. Nobody would dare offend such a terrifying entity. Clouds rolled and swallowed that face in a vortex. When that silhouette disappeared, the atmosphere gradually became normal again. The great emperor was gone. The emperors were gone. Zun cultivators were all that remained. "He's helping Shui Yu on purpose," whispered Lin Feng. He didn't understand. "For them, it's just a slight effort," said Qiongqi. Lin Feng nodded. Lin Feng wouldn't have been able to do much for his country, but a great emperor only had to say one sentence and had prevented a catastrophe from overwhelming Shui Yu. "We have things to do." Qiongqi. Even after thousands of years, he still wanted to rob tombs. Even between great emperors, there can be huge differences, thought Lin Feng. "Lin Feng, let's go to Empress Shi's coffin chamber. There must some incredible imperial scriptures there," said Qiongqi, rising up in the air. "Some imperial scriptures? How incredible! Was Empress Shi a high-level cultivation empress? Imperial scriptures are incredible, and Empress Shi was a peerless cultivator. She had studied imperial scriptures, but in the end, she didn't mind dying to achieve enlightenment. Not many have dared to do that since the antiquity. They were using telepathy to talk, so nobody could know what they were talking about. Besides, Qiongqi had cheated 8 emperors to make the netherworld demon emperor appear, so the emperors would remember him from then on. Lin Feng was a bit worried about that. He didn't dare imagine what would happen if the emperors found out that Qiongqi was the Taoist monk who had cheated them. Boom! An explosion sounded. Some people were fighting on the ground because they wanted to steal something. "Let's go and see." Lin Feng and Qiongqi as they descended from the sky. They found that those people were fighting for a jade annulus. There were carvings on the jade annulus, so it was likely that Empress Shi had carved them. "Not interesting," said Qiongqi. He used to be an emperor, so Empress Shi's teachings were not useful for him who used to be a great emperor. He wanted imperial scriptures. However, the territory was gigantic. Finding the imperial scriptures wouldn't be easy. "Let's separate, we'll have more chances to find something that way. Keep in mind that you might find the 3 lives scriptures in Empress Shi's palace," said Qiongqi, looking excited. The 3 lives scriptures were the 3 lives great emperor scriptures. Lin Feng finally understood what Qiongqi wanted. "Why would the 3 lives scriptures be in Empress Shi's grave?" asked Lin Feng to Qiongqi, who was now walking away. "You already know too much," said Qiongqi. Lin Feng grinded his teeth. Why didn't he tell him? The 3 lives scriptures. Lin Feng's eyes twinkled. He obviously wanted such imperial scriptures too. If Lin Feng managed to learn the full scriptures and have 3 bodies in one, his strength would be multiplied by 3. Lin Feng unsheathed his Tianji sword. Some strong cultivators were in Empress Shi's grave, so he had to be careful. The coffin chamber. Lin Feng looked at the small world pensively. Qiongqi wanted to find Empress Xi's coffin chamber to find the 3 live scriptures, but if he were Empress Xi, where would he have put his most valuable treasures? If I were the Empress, I would have put my most valuable treasures in my ring and kept them with me, whispered Lin Feng. Every strong cultivator did the same. The Netherworld Demon Emperor already took Empress Xi's physical body away. Empress Xi had died because she wanted to achieve enlightenment, but before dying she had probably left her treasures in that small world. The Netherworld Demon Emperor is already dead. He doesn't need Empress Xi's treasures, so Empress Xi's ring is either on her finger or in the small world, thought Lin Feng, smiling wryly. Finding treasures wasn't easy, but if he managed to find Empress Xi's coffin chamber, even if the 3 live scriptures weren't there, he'd probably find other great treasures. Xingyi likes calm and tranquility, bamboo forest, flowing waters and mountains. Uxin is cold and detached. She's the ice beauty, but she also likes peace and tranquility, whispered Lin Feng. Then he began walking in the small world. Soon he came across a small mountain range, filled with vitality. Bzz. Lin Feng ran ahead. He wasn't the only one heading in that direction. Many people were already fighting for treasures. Very quickly, Lin Feng arrived in the mountain range, a particular spot which was calm and tranquil. There was even a flowing river. At that moment, someone released an ice-cold qi which surrounded Lin Feng. Lin Feng looked at that person. That person's facial expression was hideous, like an animal. Piss off. Lin Feng released the Demon Emperor's energies. His opponent suddenly felt ice-cold as demonic energies corroded his body. Blood splashed. He stopped and started shaking violently. That strength wasn't Lin Feng's. It was a terrifying demonic strength. The Netherworld Demon Emperor. He was shaking like a leaf in the wind. His face was deathly pale. It seemed like the Netherworld Demon Emperor had transmitted a terrifying power to Lin Feng. Chapter 1272. The Qi Clan vs. Lin Feng. Lin Feng continued walking around. He was surrounded by mountains and forests. He soon came across a gigantic tree which had probably been living for thousands of years in that small world. It seemed imposing and powerful. Lin Feng condensed sword qi in his left hand and attacked the tree. A mere scratch appeared on the trunk of the tree. A holy weapon could be made from that tree, whispered Lin Feng. Even a simple tree could be an incredible treasure. Lin Feng had a cursing scepter which seemed to be made of some kind of wood. Maybe Lin Feng could find the tree which had been used to create that scepter. There are incredible treasures in this small world. Unfortunately, I can't use them all for myself, thought Lin Feng. Lin Feng looked at the mountain with the coffin chamber. That was the same kind of place that Xinyi liked, so Empress Xi had probably enjoyed the same kind of things. Lin Feng opened the door of the coffin chamber and entered it. It smelt good inside. Surprisingly, the fragrance of a woman hadn't dispersed over the thousands of years. My understanding abilities can increase by simply smelling that qi, thought Lin Feng. Lin Feng noticed some vines, from which the pleasant qi seemed to be released by. It made people feel full of vitality, so practicing cultivation there would probably be beneficial. It has so many marks, thought Lin Feng. There were mysterious marks on the vines. They seemed to contain the qi of enlightenment. Lin Feng gasped with amazement. That was a precious treasure. His eyes twinkled as he grabbed the vines and stowed them away. Lin Feng continued walking and arrived in front of a bronze mirror. It was the mirror Empress she used to put on makeup in front of. It contained an extraordinary and ancient qi. I wonder how I can use such a mirror. He released pure qi on the mirror, but nothing happened. I'll take it and I'll figure it out later, thought Lin Feng while putting the mirror inside his ring. He was feeling uncomfortable because he was in a woman's room, but then he thought of the connection between Empress Xi and himself. Then he felt better. That painting is not bad, thought Lin Feng when he saw a picture scroll hanging on the wall. There were some rivers and mountains drawn which practically looked real. Lin Feng remembered the picture scroll which Yan Di was sealed in back then. Unfortunately, I can't find her ring, thought Lin Feng glancing around the coffin chamber. At that moment, Lin Feng came across her bed. He shook his hand. creating a strong wind which pushed the dust and other items away. The bed appeared and Lin Feng was amazed again. There were detailed marks on the bed, another precious treasure. Lin Feng also took the bed. He was taking everything in the coffin chamber. That teapot is not bad either, thought Lin Feng, looking at a teapot and taking it. Her clothes are very beautiful too, they're even a holy weapon. I'll give it to Xingyi. Empress, she also liked drawing, I'll take them as well. Lin Feng took everything he could in the coffin chamber. If Empress she had seen him, she would have been angry that he had taken everything, from her clothes down to her teapot. I'm done here it seems, whispered Lin Feng. The items he had just taken seemed ordinary, but he'd inspect them later. After that, Lin Feng walked towards the exit again. The small world was huge, maybe there were other treasures to find. However, very quickly Lin Feng stopped again and frowned. When he reached the entrance of the room, there were already some people. The strong cultivator from the Qi clan was there too, Qi Yun. Next to Qi Yun, there was Qi Tiansu and some other people. Where is my sister? Asked Qi Tiansu. No comment, said Lin Feng in a cold way. It seems like you don't remember the lesson we taught you last time. Die! Shouted Qi Yun furiously. He released terrifying energies and took out his ancient broken space mirror. Dazzling lights shot forward. It seemed that they had prepared the ancient broken space mirror before coming. Boom! Terrifying explosions sounded as a gigantic object appeared in front of Lin Feng. It was a bed. The members of the Qi clan were speechless. Lin Feng had taken out a bed? But surprisingly, that bed withstood the ancient broken space mirror. Busy. Lin Feng broke his sword talisman. He was sweating intensely. The Qi clan wanted nothing more than to kill him. They even used the ancient broken space mirror against him. Luckily, that bed was solid enough, otherwise he would have died if the ancient broken space mirror had reached him. Let's go, said someone from the Qi clan. Then they ran away. Even if Lin Feng unsheathed Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, they would have time to react. Lin Feng put the bed away and was upset. Surprisingly, they didn't leave. They were flying up in the air. Did they have a secret method to deal with the Emperor's sword? They have more hidden treasures, thought Lin Feng. If they didn't, they wouldn't have attacked him while he had the Emperor's sword. And now, they had failed once but didn't leave. It was awfully fishy. Lin Feng slowly walked and looked at them. Then, he rose up in the air, moved towards them. He couldn't run away, otherwise they'd know that he couldn't use the Emperor's sword as he wished. How dare you attack me? Aren't you afraid that I could kill Qi Jiao? Said Lin Feng. His eyes were black like those of a demon. Qi Yun didn't seem reassured. Lin Feng could unsheath the Emperor's sword at any time. Lin Feng, we know who you are. You are the king of Shuiyu, your family is in Yangzhou City, so just try and touch my sister, said Qi Tiansu. Lin Feng had killed Qi Tiansheng and captured Qi Jiao. Then, they had learnt that Lin Feng was from a remote country and coincidentally, they had ended up in Shuiyu. Lin Feng's eyes looked as sharp as swords. Luckily, he had kept Qi Jiao with him, otherwise, the Qi clan would have attacked his family and friends already. Come on and take out Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, said Qi Yun mockingly. Lin Feng hesitated. He could only use it 2 more times. And the Qi clan obviously wanted him to unsheath it. Chapter 1273, Sky-Absorbing Picture Scroll, Imperial Weapon. Surprisingly, they're asking me to take out Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, thought Lin Feng. At that moment, a few silhouettes appeared. You said that Lin Feng is the king of Shuiyu and that his family is in Yangzhou City? Asked a cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer to Qi Tiansu. He was an aggressive cultivator from Tianlong Divine Castle. Indeed. Yangzhou City, said Qi Tiansu smiling. Lin Feng's eyes were becoming darker and darker, colder and colder. Why don't you unsheath Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword? Do you want to die? Said Qi Yun smiling coldly. Then, his ancient broken space mirror rose up in the air again and reflected lights off at Lin Feng. Qi Yun didn't dare get near Lin Feng. He was solely relying on the ancient broken space mirror while trying to force Lin Feng to use Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword. Die! Shouted Qi Yun furiously. Then, terrifying lights emerged from the mirror and shot out towards Lin Feng. Boom boom boom. Lin Feng took out the bed again. The strong cultivators looked at the bed curiously. A bed could block such a terrifying attack? Umph. Qi Yun groaned coldly. His ancient broken space mirror became even larger. He was convinced that Lin Feng was going to take out Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword. Slash. A terrifying sword light moved towards the mirror. Qi Yun frowned and suddenly an extremely loud explosion sounded. The mirror was propelled away and crashed onto the ground. Kaboom! Some cracks appeared on the ancient broken space mirror and Qi Yun's facial expression changed drastically. Come back, shouted Qi Yun furiously. But it was useless. The sword was still pressing the mirror against the ground. Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, shouted Lin Feng. Qi Yun was petrified and moved backwards. Relax, I'm just joking, said Lin Feng laughing. Qi Yun was astonished. Lin Feng was cheating him. Boom, 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 kaboom. Terrifying rumbling sounds were resonating. The gigantic sword was crushing the ancient broken space mirror and even more cracks were appearing. Then the mirror broke into pieces. Slash. The sword turned around and moved towards Qi Yun. The sword Qi blotted out the sky. Piss off, shouted Qi Yun furiously. A gigantic web appeared which contained empty space energies. It enveloped the sword, however it broke. Broken space. Qi Yun raised his fist and jumped forwards while breaking the space around him. He condensed a terrifying amount of empty space energies in his fist. However, that sword was moving forwards with an indomitable will. It was as if millions of swords had been whistling at the same time. Qi Yun performed a knife hand strike in the air, a trail and then a vortex appeared. The sharp sword pierced through the air and fell into the vortex. Boom boom. The gigantic sword moved into the empty space and strident whistling sounds pierced people's ears. The vortex was going to swallow the sword. Activate, shouted Qi Yun. He put his hand on the vortex and empty space energies dashed to the skies. The gigantic sword finally flew back and turned into a person. Jian Mu. Qi Yun looked at that silhouette in a cold way. Then he looked at his mirror, a peerless holy weapon, but it was completely broken now. Jian Mu, his parents had hoped that he'd turn into a real sword. More than 30 cultivators appeared and surrounded everyone. So many strong cultivators from Jianghe. All right, said Qi Yun looking upset, but Jianghe shouldn't forget that we represent the Qi clan from eastern Bahuang. If you dare attack us, the Qi clan will not let Jianghe off, said someone from the Qi clan. Jian Mu looked at Lin Feng. He was seemingly waiting for Lin Feng's orders. It's not as if I had never killed anyone from the Qi clan. Besides, today you attacked me first, said Lin Feng. We'll kill everyone from the Qi clan. Everyone. The Qi clan's members were aghast. Qi Yun said coldly, Lin Feng, are you not afraid that we could destroy the imperial palace of Yangzhou City? Destroy the imperial palace? Lin Feng smiled coldly. Shuiyu was a forbidden area now. Emperors couldn't go there anymore, and without emperors, they couldn't destroy the imperial palace. Die, said Lin Feng. All right, you're about to bring about your own destruction, said Qi Yun. A picture scroll appeared containing terrifying empty space energies. Imperial weapon. The crowd took a step back. That's the Qi clan's sky-absorbing picture scroll. Many people were astonished to see it. The Qi clan had prepared properly. The emperor had surprisingly given an imperial weapon to Qi Yun before leaving. Imperial clans, no matter whether they had existed for a long time or not, no matter whether their cultivators were extremely strong or not, if they possessed any imperial weapons, they were considered strong. The Qi clan was one of the imperial clans from eastern Bahuang, so they probably had more than one imperial weapon. It looks similar to their spirit, thought Lin Feng when he saw the sky-absorbing picture scroll. Lin Feng couldn't control his Tianji sword as it was moving towards the sky-absorbing picture scroll like metal attracting to a magnet. So he put it away. It was no wonder that Qi Yun wanted me to use Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, thought Lin Feng. Even if he had used Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, it would have been swallowed up by the sky-absorbing picture scroll. Take, said Qi Yun. His sky-absorbing picture scroll absorbed everything around him, including the many swords in the air. Imperial weapons are terrifying. That sky-absorbing picture scroll can even absorb other Imperial weapons. It's a perfect item to steal treasures, thought the crowd. Chapter 1274. Infuriating Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword. Young master, let's go, shouted Jian Mu, taking Lin Feng away. All the other strong cultivators from Jianghe did the same. You think you can escape? Shouted someone furiously. Dragon claws launched out at Lin Feng. If that hand managed to catch Lin Feng, he would die. Lacerate. Jian Mu moved behind Lin Feng and blocked the dragon hand. At the same time, empty space energies launched out towards Lin Feng from the other direction. Tianlong Divine Castle. Once the other cultivators noticed that Lin Feng couldn't use Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, they decided to attack too. Qi Yun, hurry up and attack, shouted a cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer from Tianlong Divine Castle. The sky-absorbing picture scroll became gigantic and dazzling golden marks started flashing. The sky-absorbing picture scroll doesn't just absorb weapons, it can also absorb people. Qi Yun rose up in the air and stood up next to the sky-absorbing picture scroll. He looked at Lin Feng and the others in a disdainful way. Jianghe has fallen for thousands of years, and yet you still dare fight the Qi clan. Capture them, shouted Qi Yun furiously. Then the imperial weapon moved towards them. Young master, shouted Jian Mu. Lin Feng was moving towards the sky-absorbing picture scroll. Jian Mu didn't know what Lin Feng was thinking. Everybody, let's go inside, shouted Jian Mu. They all followed Lin Feng and disappeared inside the sky-absorbing picture scroll. Even the trees on the ground were absorbed into the sky-absorbing picture scroll. The sky-absorbing picture scroll is an empty space. Lin Feng was in that empty space observing the gigantic enlightenment marks. That weapon had been fabricated by an emperor who mastered the arts of empty space spells. Young master. Jianghe's strong cultivators were now next to Lin Feng. Jian Mu didn't look happy, but when he saw that Lin Feng looked calm, he nodded. That was their ancestor's sword, he would manage to remain calm no matter what happened. Lin Feng nodded. He realized he could still see everything that was happening outside. He could even hear sounds from outside. Lin Feng, release Qi Jiao Jiao and we won't kill your family. The sky-absorbing picture scroll became small before Qi Yun grabbed it. Qi Yun knew how to control it, otherwise the Qi clan wouldn't have given it to him. Lin Feng's eyes looked cold as yelled back. An imperial clan would dare attack cultivators of the Tianqi layer and Xianqi layer? I'll repeat myself one more time, release Qi Jiao Jiao, otherwise, we'll kill everyone in Yangzhou City in front of you, said Qi Yun aggressively. However, Lin Feng was stuck in the sky-absorbing picture scroll. How could he release Qi Jiao Jiao? If he did, they probably wouldn't keep their promise. If you dare attack my clan, I'll kill Qi Jiao Jiao, said Lin Feng. Then he closed his eyes and visualized a small sword. You're dull and stupid, I'll kill your clan and then I'll kill you, said Qi Yun. Then, a terrifying Qi invaded the sky-absorbing picture scroll. Turn into swords and protect the young master, said Jian Mu. In a flash, they all turned into dazzling swords and surrounded him. The empty space energies collided with the sword energies in the empty space, emitting strident sounds. Qi Yun looked at them coldly and said, let's see how long you can hold it. Unfortunately, he couldn't control the sky-absorbing picture scroll that well, otherwise he would have killed them all in one strike. Since you're that dull and stupid Tian Su, follow your third uncle and go to Yangzhou City. Then kill his family and friends, said Qi Yun. Inside the imperial palace was Jian Ling Kong and Jian Ling Shao, but Lin Feng was worried. How come Qi Tian Su wasn't scared? Just how strong was his third uncle? They were probably cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer. Qi Yun wanted to stay there and continue hunting treasures. He had the sky-absorbing picture scroll after all. Lin Feng was visualizing a small sword while he was communicating with Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword in his mind. Little boy, they want to imprison you here, said Lin Feng to the sword. The sword shook and pointed to Lin Feng. Your Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, but they've used an ordinary Imperial weapon to trap you in the empty space picture scroll forever," continued Lin Feng. He wanted to infuriate Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword. Qi Yun thought he could control Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, therefore he wanted to keep Lin Feng and the sword inside of the sky-absorbing picture scroll, but Lin Feng knew that Qi Yun couldn't control Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword because it already had its own life, its own soul. It didn't want to be controlled by anyone, let alone an ordinary Imperial weapon. The small sword looked sharp and a little angry. Remember how majestic Emperor Wu Tianjian used to be? He had no enemies in the entire province of Ba Huang. Now, we don't know where he is. Imagine how ridiculous it would be if you ended up in the hands of Emperor Qi. Surprisingly, he gave a feudal cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer an Imperial weapon to fight you, Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword. What a humiliation. That's not just a humiliation for you, but also for Emperor Wu Tianjian, said Lin Feng sighing. Slash, slash. As expected, the sword reacted and exhaled sharp sword energies. Bzz. Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword whistled as it jumped out of Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng suddenly opened his eyes and smiled indifferently. He thought, "It doesn't count, I didn't ask the sword to come out." Boom! Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword suddenly seemed like it could destroy anything. A demonic enlightenment web then appeared, wanting to envelop the sword. Kaboom! Thunderous lights appeared and shook the space. At the same time, Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword released terrifying sword energies of which the enlightenment marks couldn't block. Jiang's strong cultivators also stopped blocking and opened their eyes. They raised their heads and looked at their ancestor's sword. How powerful! Seer. Ether. At the sky-absorbing picture scroll started enlarging, so much so that it left Qi Yun's hand. Lin Feng is using Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, but how come it's so big? Qi Yun was shaking. How could he know that Lin Feng wasn't controlling the sword, let alone that he couldn't control it? Boom! Terrifying energies appeared, the earth and sky were shaking violently and so did the sky-absorbing picture scroll. It was as if a battle was occurring inside. Chapter 1275. Imperial Sword's Determination. It's Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, thought the crowd. An incredibly terrifying sword Qi was emerging from the sky-absorbing picture scroll, while it seemed like it was going to cut the scroll in half. The sword was furious. "Stop!" shouted Qi Yun furiously. Inside the sky-absorbing picture scroll, the enlightenment marks were intertwining and shining even more vigorously. Those marks enveloped Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword. Slash. Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword released dazzling and aggressive energies, lacerating everything in its path. It also released empty space energy, so now the enlightenment marks couldn't resist it. Bzz. Inside the sky-absorbing picture scroll, the enlightenment marks became golden as a pair of eyes appeared. Emperor Qi. Lin Feng was astonished. Those eyes were Emperor Qi's eyes. The sky-absorbing picture scroll was Emperor Qi's imperial weapon, but he had lent it to Qi Yun to steal treasures. Since Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword was damaging it, it awoke the Emperor's intent. Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, let's see how strong you are. Terrifyingly sharp empty space enlightenment energies emerged from the Emperor's eyes and moved towards Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword. They acted like vines tying up Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword. See? Ether. Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword whistled furiously as it became even larger. Qi Yun looked surprised. He hadn't thought that the Emperor's intent would awaken. If it hadn't, the sky-absorbing picture scroll would have broken apart already. Now, Lin Feng was certainly going to die. The Emperor's intent released more energies as it looked down at the sword and said, "Even if you're Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, you have to be respectful." Then, terrifying intent appeared in the enlightenment marks inside the sword and dazzling energies surrounded Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword. "Is that so?" said a voice inside the empty space. The eyes from the Emperor's intent looked surprised. "Who's that?" shouted Emperor Qi furiously. But then, sword lights emerged and moved straight towards his eyes. "Stop!" shouted Emperor Qi furiously. Boom! Those sword lights struck the pair of eyes and broke them, Then the empty space enlightenment marks broke as well. Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword whistled and struck the empty space. Explosions sounded as a black hole appeared in the air. The sky-absorbing picture scroll, an imperial weapon, is broken. People were astonished. An incredible sword qi then dashed to the skies. Lin Feng and the strong cultivators from Jiang'a appeared. That voice. It had destroyed the emperor's intent. That was the intent of Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword. Ancestor. Jian Mu and the others were astonished. They looked at the gigantic sword in the sky with respect. That was their ancestor's intent, so maybe their ancestor was still alive. Is that really Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword? Thought Lin Feng. Slash. The sword swallowed sword qi and turned to Qi Yun. Qi Yun's face turned deathly pale. He was doomed. He wanted to steal Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, but he hadn't thought the sky-absorbing picture scroll would break. Now, could he stop Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword? Let's go, said someone else. The strong cultivators from Tianlong Divine Castle wanted to escape as well. Slash. Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword streaked across the sky. Qi Yun jumped, trying to use his empty space agility technique to escape, but it was useless. Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword chased him and tore apart his empty space, then it lacerated his body and Qi Yun was dead. Lin Feng followed the sword and at the same time he shouted, "Kill the members from the Qi clan." "Roger, young master," said the strong cultivators from Jiang'a. They turned into sharp swords and chased the cultivators from the Qi clan. Blood splashed as all of the strong cultivators were being killed. Imperial weapons and Peerless holy weapons had all broken apart, even Qi Yun had died. A Zun cultivator had gone to Lin Feng's clan to kill them, but other than that, the situation didn't look good for the Qi clan. Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, after killing Qi Yun, flew back into Lin Feng's body. Just like Lin Feng had said, he hadn't used up his second chance. Lin Feng grabbed Qi Yun's ring and put it in his own ring. A cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer probably had incredible treasures. Very quickly, all the Zun cultivators from the Qi clan were killed. Without a cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer, they couldn't compete with Jian Mu and the others. "Let's go to Yangzhou City," said Lin Feng. Some members from the Qi clan, including Qi Tiansu, then headed over to Yangzhou City. Even though there were two cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer and two powerful groups already in the palace, Lin Feng was still worried. With Jian Mu and the others, they could move even faster. Sword fusion. Everybody nodded and turned into whistling swords. Then, they became one gigantic sword which streaked across the sky. Even though Jiang'a fell a long time ago, Emperor Wu Tianjian's descendants are still very strong, thought the crowd, sighing. "Young master, come on," said the whistling sword appearing in front of Lin Feng. Lin Feng jumped on the sword and they all disappeared. Maybe, Lin Feng has received Emperor Wu Tianjian's teachings? Thought the remaining crowd. Lin Feng had risen way too fast. At the time of his battle against Shui Bai Yao, not too many people knew him. After Fortune City, he had then fought many people and amazed the entire province. Besides, Lin Feng's sword techniques were powerful and he could control Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword. Jiang'a's people even respected and obeyed him. The only possibility was that he had received Emperor Wu Tianjian's teachings, otherwise, there was no explanation. At that moment, in Yangzhou City, Qi Tiansu and another cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer arrived in Yangzhou City. "Die!" shouted Qi Tiansu furiously. He immediately punched the air in the direction of the palace. His punch hit the palace, making it shake and even killing some people. "Activate the deployment spell," shouted someone furiously. At the same time, sword qi shot up into the sky and someone shouted, "Who dares?" Two sharp swords rose up in the air, two Zun cultivators. "There are some cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer here," thought Qi Tiansu. Lin Feng was farsighted. "Uncle, take out the other Peerless holy weapon, the empty space chains. Let's kill all of them while tying up his family members. Then we'll see if Lin Feng will release my sister or not," said Qi Tiansu. Chapter 1276, Ba Huang's turmoil. Qi Tianzu's third uncle nodded and took out some gigantic golden chains. Die! Shouted Qi Tianzu's third uncle furiously. The millions of golden chains instantly surrounded everybody. Sword assassin! Jianling Kong and Jianling Shao attacked too. Two sharp swords moved towards Qi Tianzu and his third uncle. Stop! The two cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer couldn't see anyone, they could only see those chains. Lacerate! Metallic ringing sounds wailed. The two cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer looked upset. The chains were too solid, their sword Qi couldn't cut them. A single chain attack wasn't very powerful alone, but there were millions of them. The chains continued emitting metallic ringing sounds as they activated the deployment spell, but it soon broke under the chains. Uncle, don't kill them, capture them. Qi Tianzu reminded him. Qi Tianzu, you want to die, said someone in the distance. Then, they saw a gigantic sword arriving. Qi Tianzu's third uncle was surprised. He recalled the chains and had them attack the gigantic sword instead. Lin Feng rose up in the air as the gigantic sword clashed with those from the Qi clan. Boom! A terrifying collision sounded as the chains couldn't stop the sword Qi anymore. So many strong cultivators from Jianghe had turned into one sword and thus, one attack. The chains shook as they surrounded the gigantic sword again. The cultivator then used his empty space agility technique to create some distance between them. Slash! But sword Qi quickly streaked across the sky and moved towards him. His face turned deathly pale. Lacerate! The gigantic sword moved towards Qi Tianzu's third uncle again. Three cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer from Jianghe also moved towards him. Each sword attack contained terrifying sword Qi. Even if a cultivator had a strong physical body, they would find it difficult to block such an attack. What happened to Qi Yun? What about the sky-absorbing picture scroll? How had Lin Feng escaped from them? Qi Tianzu knew that the sky-absorbing picture scroll contained the Emperor's intent, so there shouldn't have been a reason to lose. Slash! The chains couldn't block the sword Qi. Two cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer, from Jianghe, fused together to create another large sword. Break! Shouted the cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer from the Qi clan. He released broken space punches in a desperate attempt to fend them off. Disperse! The gigantic sword dispersed and the strong cultivators from Jianghe reappeared while releasing even more sword Qi. No! The sword lacerated the cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer from the Qi clan. Blood splashed and he was dead. Jian Mu then grabbed the chains. Qi Tianzu's face turned deathly pale. His uncle, a high-level Zun cultivator, was dead. He couldn't escape anymore. Lin Feng! Shouted Qi Tianzu, glaring at Lin Feng. Do you still want to kill my family? Asked Lin Feng. If he had arrived a second too late, the entire palace would have been crushed. The three heroes of the Qi clan? So what? That? Yelled Lin Feng. Lacerate! Jianling Kong and Jianling Shao released their own sword Qi. Qi Tianzu's face turned deathly pale as he used his empty space agility technique. He jumped into an empty space and reappeared somewhere else, but the cultivators at the top of the Zun Qi layer from Jianghe were too fast. The two cultivators quickly surrounded Qi Tianzu again and two sword lights moved towards him. Boom boom boom! Explosions sounded and a silhouette appeared a few meters away. Lin Feng was astonished. Qi Tianzu had managed to escape. Young master, he has an emperor's memory imprint, said Jian Mu to Lin Feng. Lin Feng nodded. Amongst the three heroes from the Qi clan, Qi Tianzu and Qi Tianxing were the strongest ones. They had all been on the list of the 10 strongest young cultivators of Ba Huang, so they had the potential to become emperors. But Lin Feng had killed Qi Tianxing and Qi Tianzu was the last one the Qi clan had left, so they couldn't afford losing him as well. Little Feng, shouted Lin Hai, rising up in the air. When Lin Hai saw that Lin Feng was safe and sound, he calmed down a little. He had seen his son fly up into the 9 dark clouds in the sky, so he feared the worst. Dad, don't worry, I'm fine, said Lin Feng smiling at his father. Lin Feng was more concerned about those emperors than himself, But what Lin Feng didn't know was that the emperors who had gone back to Ba Huang province were injured by the demonic energies which had and still were corroding their bodies, especially Emperor Peng, whose soul had been injured. He wanted to settle the score with Emperor Lei and the Great Ape Emperor because in his opinion, they hadn't helped enough. Because of what had happened in Shuiyu, the Ba Huang province wasn't calm anymore. There were wars occurring everywhere. Plus with the conflicts between the Qi clan, Tianlong Divine Castle, the Sunset Pavilion and Tiantai, the people from the Ba Huang province knew the future held many troubled waters. Shuiyu was only the emperor's first battlefield. Chapter 1277, Dragon's Vein in Tiantai. In the sky above of the sky, two people were sitting in wooden chairs, enjoying the calmness and tranquility around them. The situation in Ba Huang province is becoming more and more chaotic. That's a good thing for us, said one of them, smiling calmly to the other. That old man was Emperor Yu. You shouldn't be gloating over people's misfortune. Do you think Tiantai could really take over the entire province alone? Asked Emperor Yu, laughing. Tianlong Divine Castle, the Sunset Pavilion, the Imperial Assassin Union, they're all quite strong themselves. And we weren't in Shuiyu this time, so getting involved won't be easy, said the person next to Emperor Yu, smiling. Don't forget that the meeting of the emperors is going to take place soon. Besides, the only geniuses who are rising are Tiantai's, Ho Qing Lin, Ruoxie, Qi Er, Lin Feng, Qiuyu Exen, Lin Feng's wife, Meng Qing. Those people all have the potential to become emperors. Even though the other powerful groups aren't as strong as us, they also have many geniuses. We also don't know all of their powerful and talented cultivators. Some of them might have not shown themselves yet. For example, there might be some geniuses who broke through to the Zunqi layer just before the event in Fortune City started, so they didn't go. Indeed, maybe there are some incredible cultivators that we don't know about it, but I'm sure that they'll show themselves soon enough. Besides, isn't Tiantai the same? The two people glanced at each other and laughed. An incredible era was starting in the Ba Huang province. What had happened in Shuiyu had only accelerated the process. From now on, the Ba Huang province would be a battlefield. While those two people were talking and relaxing, many Tian and Zun level cultivators wanted to use the Tian Su teleportation portal to go to the two small worlds. Both probably had incredible treasures, after all. The influential imperial groups weren't the only ones who dispatched people. The other influential groups from the small worlds of Ba Huang also dispatched their people. Even if they didn't get any treasures, seeing Empress Shi and the Netherworld Demon Emperor's small worlds would be a great opportunity. The Wen clan was facing the entire province now that everybody wanted to use the Tian Su teleportation portal. The Wen clan couldn't turn it off anymore because if they did, they'd have even more enemies. Shuiyu's people were growing accustomed to it. They had seen the Netherworld Demon Emperor, they had heard the 9 Netherworlds demonic song. What could be more frightening than those things? Lin Feng was at the periphery of Yangzhou City. He didn't need to go to the Yunhai mountain range anymore because the Netherworld Demon Emperor's small world had already reached the edge of Yangzhou City. It had was surrounding Empress Shi's small world even. Young master, maybe it's a good thing for Shuiyu. From now on, we will become stronger and richer thanks to those two small worlds, said Jian Mu to Lin Feng when he saw him looking pensive. He understood what Lin Feng was thinking. Lin Feng remained silent and smiled. You're right, it's a good thing for Shuiyu. I am just not open-minded enough. It's as if I hoped that Shuiyu would stay a small and peaceful country forever, but is that what they want? There's no need to follow me anymore. If I need you, I'll break the sword talisman again, said Lin Feng. Then he left. Jian Mu and the others didn't refute Lin Feng's words. Their young master was their ancestor's sword, they weren't so worried about him. In any case of real danger, their ancestor's sword could appear and fight. Lin Feng went to the small world, but changed his face and chi beforehand. Tianlong Divine Castle and the Qi clan were after him, so doing normal things while being hunted wasn't convenient. But he could come out as Black Mage once in a while too. Lin Feng walked in the Netherworld Demon Emperor's small world. Nobody paid any special attention to him. He had just broken through to the 8th Tianqi layer, so in that small world, he was considered rather weak. Of course, Even though there were many strong cultivators in there, the small world was so big that there was enough space for everyone. Even while glancing around, it was difficult to see anyone. Zune cultivators were sometimes running alone in the sky and then descended to rob things from weaker people. A corpse. Lin Feng arrived in a mountain range in the Netherworld Demon Emperor's small world. There was a pitch-black decaying qi emanating from a demonic-like mountain. Lin Feng came across a corpse there. It was in a sitting position, its bones were black. Not just one. Lin Feng was surprised to see several corpses. Maybe those people were the Netherworld Demon Emperor's disciples. That black mountain was probably the place where they used to practice cultivation. Many people are looking for treasures here, thought Lin Feng. There were more than a few silhouettes in the surroundings, including a girl in blue clothes. Her cultivation level was low though, she had only broken through to the 5th Tianqi layer. She sensed that Lin Feng was looking at her, so she turned around. Lin Feng smiled back at her. Suddenly, Lin Feng was astonished because he realized he knew that girl. Surprisingly, she was one of the 10 strongest young cultivators from the Dragon Mountain Empire, Qing Meng Exin. "Mister, why do you look at a young girl like me?" said Qing Meng Exin smiling when she saw that Lin Feng was smiling at her. "Mister." Lin Feng laughed. Back in the days, Qing Meng Exin and Lin Feng were good friends. They had even participated in the great competition of Shuiyu together, but now she was calling him Mister. "Qing Meng Xin and you were both from Dragon Mountain. I wonder if Dragon Mountain has news about you, thought Lin Feng. He said, "Seeing a little girl looking for treasures in dead bodies, that's a bit unusual. Mister, even though your cultivation level is higher than mine, you don't seem that old. Why are you calling me little girl?" said Qing Meng Xin. "Besides, mister, you probably know what's going on here. There are many strong cultivators here, so cultivators like us can only stay aside to hunt treasures because our cultivation level is too low." Lin Feng walked towards Qing Meng Xin and said, "Is that so?" She smiled and said, "Well, you probably have noticed it too, right?" "Noticed what?" Lin Feng was being funny on purpose. He didn't think she'd know anything. "Mister, I'm thinking that the Demon Emperor who appeared might be practicing cultivation in the mountain range," said Qing Meng Xin. "Why?" asked Lin Feng. "Come with me, mister," said Qing Meng Xin rising up in the air. Lin Feng followed her. "Mister, look over there in the horizon, but don't look at the white world, look at the blackness," said Qing Meng Xin pointing at a distant place. Lin Feng had only looked at the Netherworld Demon Emperor's small world. He didn't look at Empress Shi's small world. He then realized that there was a kind of black demonic dragon in the distance which had Empress Shi's small world in its arms. "Mister, isn't that a dragon's vein?" asked Qing Meng Xin smiling. Lin Feng smiled wryly. There were so many strong cultivators there, Lin Feng wouldn't have thought that a weak cultivator like Qing Meng Xin would discover something incredible like a dragon's vein. Chapter 1278. Eternal Battle. "Since it's a dragon vein, there must be an incredible qi there," whispered Lin Feng. There were more corpses in that direction. "The dragon's head is there," said Qing Meng Xin pointing at the horizon. The gigantic dragon's head was not far from its tail since it was surrounding Empress Shi's small world. What a strange small world. Small worlds are always a bit strange anyways, thought Lin Feng. He started walking towards the border between the two small worlds. Lin Feng saw something which looked like gigantic dragon's teeth, and it was breathing. Lin Feng arrived near the mouth and looked inside. It was black inside and it contained a terrifying demonic qi. Maybe the Demon Emperor really is practicing cultivation here. It's just that when people come here, they're too afraid that the demonic qi could corrode their bodies, said Lin Feng. Qing Meng Xin smiled wryly and said, "I can go in. I'm too weak." "I'm going inside," said Lin Feng. Then he entered the dragon mouth. The mouth was deep. Lin Feng walked for a while before arriving in a huge flatland filled with demonic energies. "It's a demon land," thought Lin Feng. That area vast, and even though it was dark, he could see everything clearly. Every inch was filled with demonic energies. His godly awareness couldn't even inspect it all because there was too much. A real demon emperor's cave, thought Lin Feng. There were many lofty trees which were precious treasures for anyone who practiced demonic cultivation. Those were demon Bodhi trees. Like back then in Death Valley, next to the Three Lives Demon Emperor, but the Three Lives Demon Emperor had been sealed. This here is a genuine cultivation place for a demonic emperor. Each demon Bodhi tree has a terrifying strength and contains incredible demonic energies. It's like just looking at those trees is enough to turn you into a demon, thought Lin Feng. I'm taking those Bodhi trees and Bodhi fruits. Lin Feng then stored them away in his ring. Many people were hunting treasures, other people would take those if he didn't. Very quickly, he took all of them and only one last tree was left, and it was gigantic. It was impossible to see the top of that tree from the ground. There were gigantic Bodhi fruits on it even. That Bodhi tree alone could make a sect go insane, thought Lin Feng. He walked forwards and it felt like he was going to suffocate under its pressure. That chi seemed like it was going to swallow him. At that moment, Lin Feng sensed a strength which prevented him from moving forwards, as if he had entered a forbidden area. Lin Feng released his own demonic energies into his hands. With them, he managed to break the energies which prevented him from moving forwards. Then he continued walking. What's that? Lin Feng frowned. At the foot of the tree were two silhouettes. They weren't releasing any chi, but their demonic energies made Lin Feng gulp down. The Netherworld Demon Emperor. Lin Feng approached the tree and realized that one of the people sitting below the tree was the Netherworld Demon Emperor, the one who had sung the song. The Netherworld Demon Emperor is still there, then who's the other person? The Netherworld Demon Emperor's enemy? Thought Lin Feng. Someone was facing the Netherworld Demon Emperor while sitting cross-legged. It was another demon cultivator, but he looked rather calm. Actually, neither of them looked scared. Who is that demon cultivator who dares face the Netherworld Demon Emperor? Thought Lin Feng. Was it the demon sealing Great Emperor who could control demon emperors? Bzz. A terrifying chi gushed out and the two cultivators rose up in the air and moved aside. Demon Bodhi Tree. Lin Feng walked towards the demon Bodhi tree. He released a gigantic demon hand and grabbed the demon Bodhi tree. Rise, shouted Lin Feng furiously. The ground shook as terrifying demonic energies surrounded Lin Feng's body. How could he give up so easily? Lin Feng knew that the two silhouettes he had just seen weren't real, they were just apparitions, traces of leftover intent. Maybe it was an apparition of what had happened in the past. Rise, shouted Lin Feng bestially. The ground continued shaking before finally, he sensed that the tree was rising a little. Boom! A loud sound spread in the air as Lin Feng managed to raise the demon Bodhi tree into the air. He put the tree in his ring and looked at the sky. Then he rose up in the air. He wanted to see who dared face the Netherworld Demon Emperor. Outside, Qing Meng Xen saw two demons come out. One of them was definitely the Netherworld Demon Emperor. Is he dead? Thought Qing Meng Xen when she saw the demons. However, someone else came out. Qing Meng Xen then shouted, Mister. Lin Feng smiled at her and nodded, then he gazed into the horizon. The two demons were still staring at each other, their demonic robes fluttering in the wind. Elsewhere in the small world, many people noticed that, so they came closer. The Netherworld Demon Emperor was back. That's battle intent, thought many people gasping with amazement. Two people had fought here and after such a long time, their battle energies hadn't dispersed. Who's that? Wondered some people when they saw the person facing the Netherworld Demon Emperor. His chi isn't any weaker than the Netherworld Demon Emperor's chi. What are their cultivation levels? Lin Feng looked at the two silhouettes in the sky. His own demonic chi kept rolling in waves, as if he couldn't control his demonic chi anymore. Qing Meng Xen was surprised and moved backwards. Lin Feng had only broken through to the 8th Tianqi layer and could still stand there. How strong! Even some Zun cultivators couldn't handle those energies. But Lin Feng didn't pay attention to anyone else. Eternally the best emperor, Demon Emperor's real body, said a voice which resonated in people's heads. Chapter 1279, The Demogorgon Seriatim Symphony Dead Body Curse, The Demon Emperor. Each time Lin Feng heard that name, it made him shiver. Back in the Jade Emperor's palace, the Jade Emperor had made statues for 3 emperors and a great emperor which contained some of their intent. However, the Jade Emperor had relied on his own intent to make those statues, so the intent the statues possessed were not genuine. Eternal Demon Emperor, he had amazed the entire continent. Some people landed there and looked at the demons, which gradually became blurred. Black clouds appeared. The Netherworld Demon Emperor seemed to be singing his 9 Netherworlds demonic song, which then turned into the 9 Netherworlds water and moved towards the Demon Emperor. The 9 Netherworlds water quickly turned into a lake. However, demons appeared around the Demon Emperor. 18 demon generals. The crowd recognized what they were. What terrifying creatures! Who could resist such a demonic army? The Demogorgon Seriatim Symphony. The cultivators at the top of the Zun-Chi layer were even shaking. That was the legendary Demogorgon Seriatim Symphony, another one of the 9 demonic songs. The Demogorgon Seriatim Symphony enables cultivators to invoke demon generals to fight on their side. The 9 songs might be forbidden songs, but they are very powerful. The 9 Netherworlds demonic song is used to control people, while the Demogorgon Seriatim Symphony is used to invoke demons, said a cultivator of the top of the Zun-Chi layer. The Demon Emperor also controls one of the 9 songs, whispered Lin Feng. The apparition in the sky slowly dispersed and vanished. Lin Feng was disappointed. It was an apparition from the past, so it had to vanish at some point. But still, he wanted to see the battle between the Netherworld Demon Emperor and the Demon Emperor. Everybody else looked disappointed. Lin Feng wasn't the only one. But then their disappointment was replaced by excitement as they looked at the nest of devils. They came out from there. The crowd quickly ran over to the dark cave. Lin Feng knew that people would find that place at some point. Luckily, he had taken all the Bodhi trees already. Are you going in too? Asked Lin Feng when he saw that Qing Meng Xian was following the other cultivators. Yes, other people are leading the way, so it can't be that dangerous inside, said Qing Meng Xian smiling. Lin Feng smiled back. Sometimes, people had simplistic views, but it was also a logical conclusion. Is there a problem, mister? Asked Qing Meng Xian looking naive. He was wondering how Lan Jiao was doing. Nothing, let's go, said Lin Feng entering the cave again. The crowd continued walking forwards. Some people released their godly awareness, but couldn't see everything because of the size of the cave. There's a demon palace hall, said someone. A demonic palace hall soon appeared in their fields of vision. There was a praying mat with a silhouette on it, the Netherworld Demon Emperor's silhouette. It was an apparition as well. Another apparition, thought the crowd. They couldn't imagine what it was like to be a great emperor. Boom! A demonic light moved straight into someone's brain. That person instantly became petrified, their body turned pitch black and they turned into a statue. A horrible shriek spread in the air. Someone else was being corroded by the demonic lights. His chi was turning demonic. He couldn't control it. Finally the demon chi filled his body and he exploded. Arg! Someone shouted who turned around and ran away. That person hadn't even made it a few steps inside the palace hall. His facial expression suddenly looked ice cold as he had turned into a demonic slave. Die! Shouted that person as then he threw himself at people outside the palace hall. Some people joined hands to attack and kill him. Lin Feng and Qing Meng Xian arrived too, but they stayed behind the crowd. The people in front of them were almost all Zun cultivators. Those demonic lights are so scary, said Qing Meng Xian. Someone heard Qing Meng Xian and looked at her in a cold way. Tap tap. Qing Meng Xian moved back as if she had realized something. Come here, said a Zun cultivator to Qing Meng Xian. Mister, how may I help you? Asked Qing Meng Xian, petrified with fear. Get your ass over here, said that person while releasing qi which surrounded Qing Meng Xian's body. Qing Meng Xian's face turned deathly pale. That person probably wanted to kill her. Lin Feng stepped in front of her and Qing Meng Xian suddenly felt much safer. If you want to go in, just go in yourself. There's no need to try and push other people inside, said Lin Feng indifferently. The cultivator smiled in a cold way. A cultivator of the 8th Tianqi layer dares talk to a Zun cultivator that way? Get the hell over here too. Boom! Lin Feng stepped forwards and released cursing energies. Cursing strength. That person was shocked for a moment. That person shook his hand as a thick and strong tree appeared and shot out towards Lin Feng. Wood type. That person must have a plant spirit. Lin Feng took out an amulet and placed it in the air in front of him. Curse, said Lin Feng in a deep voice. In a flash, Qi surrounded the tree and began corroding it. Amulet cursing technique. Come back, said Lin Feng. The tree turned around and moved towards its owner, who now looked surprised. You're just an ant trying to shake a tree, said that cultivator. He shook his hand and released energies, but in that place, it was difficult to release powerful attacks while fending off the demonic energies. But it was probably sufficient to cripple a Tian-level cultivator's cultivation. Cursing spell, swallow. Cursing strength moved towards Lin Feng's enemy. The enemy's tree turned into dust and the enemy's face looked strange as the cursing strength was now corroding his body. Die, said Lin Feng. His soul was cursed now. He suddenly looked extremely old, his face turned deathly pale, he was wailing mournfully. Then he collapsed. What a strange and enigmatic strength. Once cursed, they can barely fight anymore, thought Lin Feng. Even though that was a low-level Zun cultivator, his cultivation level was still higher than Lin Feng's. He's dead, thought the crowd. They were astonished and looking at Lin Feng in a strange way. Rise, said Lin Feng. Suddenly, that person's body rose up again. The crowd was surprised again. He was dead, but that wasn't enough for Lin Feng. He was going to curse his soul and spirit. According to the legends, strong cultivators who used black magic could make armies of the dead rise and fight on their side. It seems absolutely possible. Chapter 1280, More and more intense demon eyes. He can use dead spirits, thought the crowd. Two words came to mind when they looked at Lin Feng: black mage. Geniuses were rising and a black mage had even appeared. Besides, his cultivation level was high, but his fighting abilities were terrifying. He had only broken through to the 8th Tianqi layer and could already defeat Zun cultivators. Qing Meng Xian was astonished. Lin Feng had easily killed a Zun cultivator. Thank you, whispered Qing Meng Xian. If Lin Feng hadn't been there, she would have died. Lin Feng nodded and said to her, using telepathy, don't get close to those people, just stay away and observe. The dead Zun cultivator slowly walked into the palace hall and everybody was watching him. Not bad, we don't need to risk our lives anymore, thought the crowd. Many people had thought of trying to force someone to go in, a weaker cultivator, but since the black mage was there, they didn't need to do that anymore. He didn't get attacked, thought the crowd, staring at the dead body. What a terrifying demonic intent, thought Lin Feng. The dead body raised his head and looked at the walls. There were many patterns and all those drawings were of the Netherworld Demon Emperor. However, each picture contained a different intent. If I didn't use the dead body, I wouldn't be able to handle such a terrifying demonic intent, even though I practiced demonic skills myself, thought Lin Feng. His eyes had become dark. It was as if demonic intent was starting to consume him. The Netherworld Demon Emperor's intent is carved into those walls. They died because they couldn't handle his intent. So once inside, it's best not to look at the patterns and also not to use your godly awareness to inspect the room, said Lin Feng calmly when he saw that everybody was staring at him. If we don't use our eyes to study them and if we don't study the energies, how do we go in at all? Whispered many people. However, at that moment, a strong cultivator entered the palace hall. It was a strong Zun cultivator who had opened his eyes, but was only looking in front of him. He had also completely blocked his godly awareness. The black mage is right, I'm fine. Then crowd followed him inside the palace hall and did the same. Mister, are you not going in? Asked Qing Meng Xian to Lin Feng. My cultivation level is too low, I don't dare, said Lin Feng smiling. Even if he stayed at the entrance of the room, it would be the same as practicing inside the room. Inside the palace hall, the dead body was observing one pattern in particular and Lin Feng was using the eyes of that dead body to study the patterns. In his brain, in his pitch-black eyes, a demon appeared who was releasing incredible energies. Boom! Qin Mengxen looked at those demonic eyes and shivered. She moved back and closed her eyes. She didn't dare look at Lin Feng's eyes again. How terrifying, thought Qin Mengxen. In Dragon Mountain she was like a frog in a well. She was amongst some of the most outstanding young cultivators from the empire. She couldn't even look them in the eyes. Lin Feng already had a thread of the Netherworld Demon Emperor's soul in him. He had the feeling two demons were fighting in his eyes. His previous intent was slowly being absorbed by a new one, which was then becoming his own demon intent. Lin Feng's celestial book spirit opened itself automatically. Lin Feng sat down cross-legged and appeared in his desolate world. Enlightenment marks appeared and energies flowed inside. Two sorts of qi started fighting. His demonic energies kept rolling and changing. Finally, they slowly fused together. Outside of his spirit, his real body was also surrounded by demonic energies and his demonic skills were changing automatically. Many of the remaining Zun cultivators moved away from him, just in case. I couldn't understand a small part of it, but I did learn two threads of demonic intent, thought Lin Feng. The dead body Lin Feng was using raised his head and looked at a second demon emperor's pattern. Lin Feng could sense the terrifying demonic intent penetrate into his mind. Then it would start fighting against the other sorts of demonic intent he already had. More people were showing up as even more people died from curiosity. Those who had gone in first weren't going to warn them because they didn't want to share any treasures with the others. Of course, there was the silhouette of the Netherworld Demon Emperor as well. Some people tried to study it, but they immediately died. Lin Feng was happy to have the dead body to study several demonic patterns. Time passed slowly, some people gave up and left, but the dead body was still there. In the palace hall, a Zun cultivator lost patience and looked at the dead body Lin Feng was controlling. When he saw that the dead body could look at the patterns on the wall, he became angry and slapped it on the head. The dead body slowly turned around and looked at that Zun cultivator. His eyes were filled with demonic energies. Ah, that Zun cultivator gave a horrible shriek. Those energies had blinded him, so no, he was frantic. At the same time, Lin Feng, who was still outside of the palace hall, released black demonic energies which invaded the room. Die, said Lin Feng. The dead body put his hands on that person's head and crushed his skull. At the same time, Lin Feng released even more demonic qi into the room. Many people looked at him and started shaking, terrified. Even those who were a lot stronger than Lin Feng couldn't look at his eyes. Demonic eyes. Chapter 1281. A Demoniac Concerto. Not only is he an incredible black mage, but he's also an incredible demon cultivator, thought the Zun cultivators. Lin Feng raised his head and looked at the walls. He directly looked at some of the demonic patterns and then demonic intent penetrated into his eyes. At the same time, Lin Feng's demonic eyes released dazzling black lights which collided with the demon intent. Now, he could look at them with his own eyes without being injured. However, Lin Feng was still a bit cautious because he knew just how powerful they were. His demonic eyes twinkled as he looked at more of the walls. Then turned around and looked at the Netherworld Demon Emperor's silhouette. He walked towards him and sat down cross-legged next to him. He sat down facing the Netherworld Demon Emperor and released his own demonic qi. He stared at him and studied the Demon Emperor's intent. What an incredible guy. He's using the Netherworld Demon Emperor's intent to study demon cultivation. The Netherworld Demon Emperor's intent was incredibly powerful and aggressive. Those people weren't demon cultivators, so they couldn't understand demon intent. If they directly tried to understand any of it, they could get hurt. Lin Feng's robe was fluttering from the wailing energies and so did his long black hair. The demonic intent in his pitch-black eyes were getting even more intense. Around his body, the demonic intent had turned into a vortex. Someday, he'll be an incredible demon king, thought the crowd. They were also wondering, was he a high-level disciple of the Devamara Palace? The Devamara Palace was a mysterious influential imperial group in the sanguinary part of Ba Huang. Even the Abyss of Sufferings couldn't deal with the Devamara Palace, proving how powerful they were. However, it was extremely rare to see Devamara Palace's disciples come out. Many people didn't even know how strong their younger disciples were. Considering his way of practicing cultivation, that young man could only be from the Devamara palace. He even knew the sorcerer's arts. At that moment, the palace shook slightly. The demon palace. The palace was shaking more and more. Bzz. At that moment, the myriad of demon emperor's patterns on the walls started shining brightly. Demon intent started flooding the room. The crowd didn't look at them, but they could still sense how terrifying the energies were. Boom! The terrifying demon intent turned into a statue and penetrated into the demon emperor's silhouette, making him become more distinct. Boom, boom, boom. The demon palace continued shaking and the demon statue became even more dazzling. The demon emperor's silhouette now contained millions of different sorts of intent which were making him appear more distinct, as if his real body had started appearing. His hair was pitch black and fluttering with the energies. Fusion. A long time ago, the demon emperor had turned into many threads of demonic intent, and now his different types of intent were fusing together and turning back into the demon emperor's body. Get him! The crowd suddenly burst into an uproar. That was a real physical body. Maybe it was the demon emperor. If so, then it probably contained a demon great emperor's intent and memories. A cultivator at the top of the Zun-Chi layer jumped forwards and raised his hands, wanting to grab the body. Steal it! Everybody started running towards the demon emperor's body, but at that moment, all the hands stopped. Some of their hands turned black, corroded by the demonic energies. Someone gave a horrible shriek. They got too close to the demon emperor, so their body turned black from head to foot. Then, he turned into a demon. 9 Netherworld's demonic song. The crowd recognized the technique. Then, they heard the song and realized that the sound waves were moving towards them. He can create music even though he's dead? Thought the crowd. Many people ran backwards and put their hands over their ears. However, they couldn't prevent the sound waves from piercing through their eardrums and resonating in their brains. The 9 Netherworld's demonic song is a demon melody which allows the user to control people. Even though that demon emperor is dead, his physical body still wants to control us cultivators. That thread of consciousness he left must have been created while he practiced the 9 Netherworld's demonic song. No, someone else was corroded by the demonic sound waves. He turned into a demon and stopped moving, like lifeless body or a zombie. That song is too terrifying. A cultivator at the top of the Zun-Chi layer was also slowly turning into a black body. We can only give up, thought the cultivator at the top of the Zun-Chi layer. He looked terribly unhappy as he turned around and left the palace hall. If he stayed in there any longer, he'd end up like the others, a demon slave. When that cultivator at the top of the Zun-Chi layer left, he glanced at Lin Feng, who was still sitting there cross-legged. Demon energies were emanating from his body, so he was wondering if he was turning into a demon or not. What he didn't know was that the 9 Netherworld's demonic song he had heard wasn't solo, it was an orchestra. Lin Feng was facing the Netherworld Demon Emperor as the celestial water from the 9 Netherworlds appeared in his pitch-black eyes. The 9 Netherworlds' demonic song continued resonating in the air, fusing with the sound waves. A thread of demonic consciousness, a real body, a concerto of demonic songs. Lin Feng couldn't sing the 9 Netherworlds' demonic song. He had learnt it a short time before, but he hadn't really tried to learn or practice it yet. However, he had the intent from the Demon Emperor in his body, and he was using it to face the energies of the song and absorb them. Those songs in unison seemed to be teaching him how to sing the 9 Netherworld's demonic song. The sound waves invaded the entire cave. All the people who hadn't left all turned into demons, their bodies turned black and their strength turned into demon intent. Lin Feng was surrounded by demonic qi as a demon silhouette appeared behind him. Lin Feng's qi rose up in the air and fused together with the energies from the songs. A demon body! Lin Feng suddenly opened his eyes and a light out from his eyes into the Demon Emperor's eyes. The Demon Emperor's demonic lights which surging from his eyes also collided with Lin Feng's. They seemed to be fusing together, and at the same time, they were surrounded by the energies from the demonic songs. Demonic qi emerged from Lin Feng's body and rolled in waves. The strength of his chi had changed too. It was now at the 9th Tian Chi layer. Chapter 1282, Demon Determination Rising to the Skies. The 9 netherworld are resonating in unison. The source of the 9 netherworlds had appeared in Lin Feng's pitch-black pupils. He smiled in a resplendent way. "Rise," said Lin Feng. In a flash, the demon body slowly stood up. Its demonic intent was rising to the skies. Its pitch-black pupils looked ice-cold, and he looked emotionless. 9 netherworlds energies, you're mine, thought Lin Feng, smiling with satisfaction. He turned around and looked at the strong cultivators surrounded by demonic energies. The 9 netherworlds' demonic song had taken control of their bodies. "Kneel down," said Lin Feng. His voice resonated in the room as all the demon slaves knelt down. "Stand up," said Lin Feng, glancing at them. Not only could he use the energies from the demon songs, but he could also control those who had turned into demon slaves. Everybody stood up after his command. Imperial scriptures are incredible. Even though I only have the strength of the 9th Tian Chi layer, those energies completely purified my demonic strength. I can now pollute low-level Zun cultivators' pure chi. I can also use even more powerful skills now, thought Lin Feng. Now, even if he used his Cosmos Burning Sun technique, which came from Tian-level scriptures, it would never be as powerful as his demonic intent. My Cosmos Burning Sun technique is not powerful enough. I need to find some scriptures to replace it, thought Lin Feng. Lin Feng glanced around. Apart from the marks and the demonic patterns, that place had nothing of interest. That was just a place where the Netherworld Demon Emperor came to practice cultivation. The Netherworld Demon Emperor wouldn't bring his treasures to that room. Lin Feng was probably right, that the Netherworld Demon Emperor and Empress Shi had their treasures with them, or maybe on Empress Shi's body, which the Netherworld Demon Emperor had taken with him when he left. There were some other marks inside the palace hall, but they weren't useful for Lin Feng because he couldn't understand them. To understand all the marks written by great emperors, he had to at least have the strength of a cultivation emperor. Boom, boom, boom. At that moment, the demon palace shook violently, as if a mountain was collapsing. Lin Feng raised his head. "They couldn't stay in here, so they want to destroy the palace," whispered Lin Feng. Those people who had left were attacking the palace. Since they couldn't defeat Lin Feng and since they couldn't do anything interesting in the palace, they wanted to destroy it while Lin Feng was still inside. Lin Feng raised his hands and broke a gigantic piece of wall which was falling above his head. The demon palace was already starting to collapse. Boom! Terrifying explosions sounded, and Lin Feng could sense the terrifyingly oppressive energies all around him. Then he saw a silhouette enter the palace hall. It was Qing Meng Exin. Why hadn't she left already? "Come here," said Lin Feng to Qing Meng Exin. Her silhouette flickered and she arrived next to Lin Feng. Lin Feng controlled the demon slaves around them to hold up the walls of the hall. Lin Feng turned around and looked at the thread of consciousness left by Netherworld Demon Emperor. Then he shouted, "Come in." The Emperor's thread of consciousness turned into a light which penetrated into Lin Feng's godly awareness. Boom, boom, boom. Finally, the hall collapsed. Lin Feng could already see many people above him, a bunch of Zun cultivators. Many of them had been in the demon palace before and had left upset. "Are you dead or alive?" shouted the crowd when they saw the demon slaves in the middle of the ruins. The 9 netherworlds' demonic song had influenced so many people and it had killed just as many. "Are you blind?" asked Lin Feng, glancing at those people. "How conceited. You think that because you killed a few low-level Zun cultivators, you're stronger than everyone else? What treasure did you find that made you break through to the 9th Tian Chi layer?" said that cultivator. He was a cultivator of the 4th Zun Chi layer. "The Netherworld Demon Emperor's imperial treasures. If you want them, come and get them," said Lin Feng, releasing terrifying demonic intent. His demonic energies also contained cursing energies. "You're acting recklessly. Since it's that way, you'll have to die," said that cultivator. He turned into a whirlwind and descended from the sky towards Lin Feng. His gray whirlwind turned into a gigantic blade which moved towards Lin Feng. He was using wind abstruse energies and his wind abstruse energies were level 4. "Die!" said Lin Feng. His demonic chi rose to the skies. His eyes were pitch black, ice cold, filled with murder. Then he threw himself at the enemy. The opponent was surprised. Lin Feng's demonic energies had corroded his fighting determination. "Wind wounds, lacerate," shouted that cultivator furiously. Sharp winds moved towards Lin Feng, lacerating the space around them on their way. Qing Meng Xian raised her head. She looked terrified. "Kacha!" The ground cracked. It was difficult to look at his attacks, however, Lin Feng wasn't affected. He dodged the attack which then landed a few millimeters away from him. At the same time, the cultivator of the 4th Zun Qi layer also landed in front of Lin Feng. "Can you take my life?" asked Lin Feng, jumping towards him. Demonic lights emerged from his eyes. His opponent was caught off guard. Lin Feng's demonic intent was affecting his determination. It seemed to be losing his sight. However, even though he could barely stand it, he didn't close his eyes. Blood dripped from his eyes from the struggle. "Curse," said Lin Feng. The ground shook as more cracks appeared. Cursing energies emerged from his eyes and fused together with his enemy's soul. "Kneel down," shouted Lin Feng furiously. He could sense that his enemy's soul was affected and that he was going to kneel down. "No!" shouted the cultivator furiously. Surprisingly, a cultivator of the Tianqi layer was making him kneel down. "Kneel down," shouted Lin Feng again. That Zun cultivator started trembling. He didn't feel like fighting anymore. Even a cultivator of the 4th Zun Qi layer couldn't resist Lin Feng's cursing and demonic energies together. "Die," said Lin Feng. He stopped playing with his opponent. His demonic and cursing energies were strong, but he couldn't completely control a cultivator of the 4th Zun Qi layer. He could damage their determination. Lin Feng punched his opponent square in the face. A cultivator of the 9th Tianqi layer could easily destroy a cultivator of the 4th Zun Qi layer? There's a new beast in the Ba Huang province. With the strength of the Tianqi layer, he can defeat Zun cultivators. He could probably be considered one of the 10 strongest young cultivators in the Ba Huang province. A black mage has appeared in this small world. Imagine if he fought against Lin Feng, who would be stronger? Thought many people. Even though Lin Feng knew some demonic spells, he didn't have those demonic eyes. Besides, Lin Feng was a sword cultivator. That cultivator used magic and demon intent. Chapter 1283, Demon Flute. He's also a cultivator of the Tianqi layer and surprisingly, he's infinitely stronger than me, thought Qing Meng Xian. When she first met him, she didn't think he would be that strong. She didn't even consider it possible. She had thought that Lin Feng would only be slightly stronger than her, but now she understood that there was a huge difference between them. At that moment, the silhouettes of the dead bodies around Lin Feng flickered. Hadn't those people turned into demon slaves because of the Netherworld Demon Emperor's song? How come they were now safe and sound? Lin Feng proudly glanced at the crowd and pulled Qing Meng Xian aside. He didn't say anything. He had already proved that he was strong enough to be there. He had managed to kill a cultivator of the 4th Zun Qi layer easily, but maybe he could also defeat cultivators of the 5th Zun Qi layer. Therefore, nobody wanted to gamble by trying to attack him. Black mages were very mysterious cultivators. They were a symbol of power. Nobody knew who Lin Feng really was, but with his terrifying powers, he could definitely be a cultivator from the Devamara Palace or maybe the descendant of a powerful, mysterious and secret Peerless cultivator. Let's destroy the Netherworld Demon Emperor's cultivation room and see if there are any treasures, said someone. They descended from the sky and landed on the ruins. Everything was dust and stones now. They saw no treasures. It can't be. There can not only be a thread of consciousness left by the Netherworld Demon Emperor, said someone. Maybe I should have done the same as Jun Mo Shi and the Tang Yu Yu and the others. Maybe I should have gone abroad, thought Qing Meng Xian. She was starting to regret her decision to stay. Maybe she would see Lin Feng, Jun Mo Shi and the others again someday. Let's attack at the same time, said a cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer. Then they all rose up in the air together, condensing energies. Listen to me when I say attack, we attack at the same time, said the cultivator at the top of the Zun Qi layer. A sun appeared in his hand and flames appeared around his body. "Attack!" shouted that cultivator. A gigantic sun rose up in the air and fell down on the demon palace. Slash, slash. The sun chi cleansed the area, burning away everything. When the effects from the attacks settled, all the ruins had disappeared. "There's something," the crowd yelled. Deep in the pit, there was a black flute covered with dust. It looked like junk at first. Boom! A terrifying absorbing strength soared and the flute rose up in the air, toward someone. "Show it to me," shouted a cultivator at the top of the Zun Chi layer, furiously jumping forwards. He landed in front of the one who had taken the black flute and released fire energies. Slash! A sharp wind surrounded the black flute and made it fly away. The fire had burnt the hand of the one who had tried to take it. "How shameless!" shouted the cultivator at the top of the Zun Chi layer. He jumped forwards and released more fire. The one who had tried to take the flute before was sad. Actually, his face had turned deathly pale. He didn't dare fight against that strong cultivator. The fire cultivator at the top of the Zun Chi layer didn't have time to pay attention to them anymore. He continued flying towards the black flute, but a gigantic hand appeared in the sky and attempted to grab the flute. "Move away!" shouted an aggressive voice. The gigantic hand collided with the fire hand that Zun cultivator had created. The energies created by the collision made the flute fly even farther away. Slash! The black flute fell down far off in the distance. The crowd was staring at it and at Lin Feng, who took 2 steps towards it. The flute had appeared in front of him. "If someone dares touch it, I'll kill them," shouted the strong cultivator who had attacked the fire hand a moment before. He was also a cultivator at the top of the Zun Chi layer. People appeared behind him. The leader was a young man wearing a long robe and had a bestial look. "The Netherworld Demon Emperor's Jade Flute," whispered the young man, staring at Lin Feng. "BZ." Someone continued running towards the flute, but at that moment he realized he wasn't the only one running at it. "Dull and stupid, do you want to die?" The cultivator at the top of the Zun Chi layer shook his hand and terrifying marks appeared. The other cultivator gave a horrible shriek, then his body exploded and he died. Holy marks were imbued in that attack. The crowd was astonished. That cultivator could use holy marks to attack. "I'm interested in that jade flute," said the young man running towards the flute. The other people said nothing. That was a strong cultivator from the Si Kong clan, a Zun cultivator. The young man was one of the 10 strongest young cultivators from Ba Huang, Si Kong Shao. Lin Feng looked at Si Kong Shao and lowered his head, looking at the jade flute. His eyes were filled with demonic energies when suddenly the flute shook. It was as if the flute had been calling him. The music resonated in Lin Feng's heart, the 9 Netherworld's demonic song. Demon flute, that was probably the Netherworld Demon Emperor's flute, thought Lin Feng. From the conversation Yen Di and the Netherworld Demon Emperor had, Lin Feng understood that the Netherworld Demon Emperor was the only one who knew the 9 Netherworld's demonic song. Lin Feng crouched down, everybody watched him. Si Kong Shao looked at him aggressively and said, "Try and touch it. See what happens." Lin Feng stopped moving for only a second. Then he continued stretching out his hand, slowly towards the demon flute. Then he took it. The flute was calling Lin Feng. As Lin Feng took it, an ice-cold chi surrounded him. Chapter 1284. I-Technique's Si Kong clan wasn't the only one surprised, everybody was. They all looked at him in a strange way. If Si Kong clan had been alone, the crowd wouldn't have been surprised. After all, that cultivator probably wasn't any weaker than the 10 strongest young cultivators of Ba Huang. However, some strong cultivators from the Si Kong clan were with him. Offending Si Kong Shao was the same as offending the Si Kong clan. Lin Feng turned his head around and looked at Si Kong Shao. Then he immediately put the flute in his ring. In that entire palace, there was only one flute. The crowd didn't know that Lin Feng had also obtained some kind of special energy. However, even if there was only one item, it belonged to the Netherworld Demon Emperor and his item couldn't be useless. "Give it to me," said Si Kong Shao. His eyes slowly became strange and bestial. Strange energies were revolving inside his eyes. The celestial vision, the Sikong clan's celestial vision. The crowd recognized them. The Sikong clan's blood spirit was a pair of eyes. However, only 3 people possessed the celestial vision. Apart from the Emperor Sikong, Sikong Xiao was one of them, and he had the exact same celestial eyes and vision as the Emperor. The crowd became even more excited when they saw that Sikong Xiao was using his celestial vision. His opponent was a black mage of the 9th Tianqi layer who also had a demon vision ability. Even though they didn't really understand what kind of technique that was, they had seen what he did to a cultivator of the 4th Zunqi layer with it. Maybe it was one of the strongest ocular techniques of the continent. Celestial vision. Lin Feng had the feeling his eyes were going to be damaged if he looked at Sikong Xiao's eyes. Lin Feng's eyes turned pitch black and ice cold as demonic intent emerged from them. Break! Sikong Xiao's voice resonated in Lin Feng's brain. It was as if Sikong Xiao and Lin Feng were alone in another world. Lin Feng had released demonic intent with his eyes, but Sikong Xiao's eyes broke that apart. Die, said Lin Feng. His voice resonated in Sikong Xiao's heart. It was as if the demonic energies were corroding him from the inside out. Lights emerged from his celestial eyes. It was as if time had stopped. At least, time was passing a lot slower. Sikong Xiao's strength then broke the demon energies. That's the power of the celestial vision, thought Lin Feng. Not only could the celestial vision lacerate the sky, it could also see through things. Some people said that Sikong Xiao's abstruse energies were fission and speed abstruse energies. Lin Feng didn't know what kind of special body he had or the powers it granted him, but he enjoyed learning how to do things with his own strength. Interesting, said a voice in Lin Feng and Sikong Xiao's brains while laughing indifferently. They saw a 3rd, maybe a 4th pair of eyes, then a 5th. People were fixedly staring at them. Illusional eyes, Mu Fan Qin, shouted Sikong Xiao. Lin Feng's demonic vision and Sikong Xiao's celestial vision dispersed. Mu Fan Qin, from the magic world Heavenly Palace, was next to them, another one of the 10 strongest young cultivators. Illusion eyes, is that a type of spell? Whispered Lin Feng. That technique also involved using the eyes. Those people had already broken through to the Zunqi layer, so they could all defeat cultivators who were stronger than them. According to the diviner though, Qi Tiansheng and Bai Qiu Luo were the weakest ones amongst the 10 strongest young cultivators. I wouldn't have thought that someone would dare use an eye technique against Sikong Xiao, said Mu Fanchen looking at Lin Feng and smiling. You also want to try, said Sikong Xiao to Mu Fanchen. A layer of energy emerged from their eyes as they looked at each other. I saw the Demon Emperor's treasure too, so if you can try and steal it, then I can too, said Mu Fanchen smiling indifferently. However, at that moment, a girl laughed and another person arrived. Her eyes alone made people feel like kneeling down before her. Yi Rinlei from the Heavens of Desire's palace. This is getting really interesting, thought the crowd. There were 3 incredible cultivators. Mu Fanchen, Rinlei etc. who had powerful families, and then the black mage whose social status was unknown. I like music. I would be so happy if I had that flute, said Yi Rinlei smiling thinly. She was trying to seduce everyone for the flute. Even though I have a celestial qi, I could also use that flute, said Mu Fanchen. He was the most resistant to Yi Rinlei's seduction spells. After all, he was also an illusion cultivator himself. Yi Rinlei, if you accept to become my girlfriend, I'll be happy to steal the flute and give it to you as a gift, said Sikong clan smiling thinly. Master Sikong, you're the future of the Sikong clan. I don't think I deserve to be with someone as wonderful as you, said Yi Rinlei smiling thinly. They were all laughing and smiling, but nobody was willing to give up the jade flute. Sikong Xiao's eyes twinkled, then he glanced at them and said, since it's that way, let's agree on something. Agree on what? Said Mu Fanchen smiling. Yi Rinlei looked at him too. The 3 of us, let's join hands and the first one to kill him gets the jade flute, said Sikong Xiao pointing at Lin Feng. Even though 4 people wanted to get the flute, in Sikong Xiao's eyes, there were only 3. Even though Lin Feng's vision wasn't that bad, he had only broken through to the 9th Tianqi layer. Chapter 1285, Three beasts battled. The one who would kill Lin Feng first would get the jade flute. Those who weren't strong and didn't have a powerful background should die. Si Kong Xiao didn't rely on his reputation as one of the 10 strongest young cultivators of Ba Huang to steal treasures. He also relied on the strong cultivators who were with him. He had even brought some cultivators at the top of the Zunqi layer who would dare oppose him. Mu Fanchen and Yiren Lei were the same. They hadn't come alone either. They had also brought strong cultivators from the Magic World, Heavenly Palace and the Heavens of Desire's Palace. 3 powerful groups while Lin Feng was alone, and on top of that he only had the strength of the Tianqi layer. I agree, said Mu Fanchen smiling indifferently. Maybe it was the easiest way to solve the issue. That way, the people who were with them didn't need to be involved. Since you both agree, I have no choice. I agree too, said Yiren Lei smiling at Lin Feng in a seducing way. She felt sorry for him, but she hoped Lin Feng wouldn't blame her. Lin Feng's eyes were filled with demonic energies. If Yiren Lei agreed with them, it meant they were going to attack now. Bzz. An illusion appeared and Lin Feng thought he was in another world. He saw that he was stuck in a cage and that sword energies were moving towards him, towards his throat. That's the power of the illusional eyes. Suddenly, it was as if a demonic god appeared behind Lin Feng. It was pitch black, especially his eyes. The sword lights which were moving towards him immediately disappeared as if they had never existed. Slash. Another pair of eyes appeared in the illusion, the celestial vision. The atmosphere around Lin Feng became distorted. He suddenly felt like his body was being ripped apart. Those 4 people were in an illusion together. From outside, it looked like those 4 were just standing there, not moving at all. However, their eyes looked terrifying. Die! Shouted Si Kong Xiao furiously. Deadly energies emerged from his eyes and moved towards Lin Feng. Using illusion techniques against someone who has demonic eyes is ridiculous, said Lin Feng. Then, demonic energies rolled in waves in front of him. Godly curse. Lin Feng was suddenly bathing in cursing strength. He wasn't trying to curse other people this time, he was cursing himself to come back to his senses. Bzz. The illusion disappeared, leaving Mu Fanchen surprised. Demonic eyes could break illusion spells? Another genius, said Yiren Lei smiling in a resplendent way. She couldn't help but recall Lin Feng. This reminded her that she couldn't be arrogant on the path of cultivation. The 10 strongest young cultivators of Ba Huang would continue to see new and powerful opponents. Lin Feng's demonic vision granted him special powers that she didn't know about. He could destroy illusion spells and could prevent her from seducing him with her seduction spells. Boom! Lin Feng jumped forwards while he raising his fists. His demon fists were aimed at Yiren Lei and Mu Fanchen at the same time while Lin Feng himself ran towards Si Kong Xiao. You want to die, shouted Si Kong Xiao. At the same time, he also jumped forwards, cutting everything in front of him down with his celestial vision. Lin Feng was fixedly staring at his eyes with his demonic eyes. The energies from the 9 netherworlds were visible in those demon eyes, so Si Kong Xiao could feel his celestial vision being corroded. A thin black layer had appeared around his eyes. Die! Shouted Lin Feng furiously, his voice created sound waves ahead of him. It was as if 2 demons were staring down at him, the energies they emitted pierced through Si Kong Xiao's eyes painfully. Break! Shouted Si Kong Xiao furiously, closing his eyes. He landed in front of Lin Feng and punched the air in front of him. Body curse! Lin Feng's cursing and demonic energies intertwined. This time, he was cursing his own body while turning the demonic energies on himself, trying to create an indestructible body. Fission abstruse energies crashed onto Lin Feng, but it didn't affect him. Destructive curse. Lin Feng punched the air in Si Kong Xiao's direction as well. Demonic qi rose to the skies as his punch contained a terrifying amount of demon qi and cursing abstruse energies. They glanced at each other. Lin Feng's cursing energies first spread through Si Kong Xiao's body, making him feel weak. At the same time, terrifying empty space and demonic energy invaded Si Kong Xiao's arm. Boom boom boom. A terrifying collision occurred. Both Lin Feng and Si Kong Xiao were thrown backwards. Lin Feng's arm was shaking, his fist was bleeding. Si Kong Xiao had used fission abstruse energies to break Lin Feng's spell, and his fission abstruse energies were already level 3. Even though Lin Feng had cast a cursing spell on himself, he had almost lost his arm. However, Si Kong Xiao wasn't feeling any better. His arm was hanging loose and his bones were crushed. His face turned deathly pale. What infuriated him the most, though, was that Lin Feng was relatively safe. He was just bleeding a little. Si Kong Xiao has been defeated. The crowd was surprised. Even while fighting 3 people at the same time, he had won the battle, forcing Si Kong Xiao to close his eyes. Yi Rinlei and Mu Fanchen didn't take advantage of the situation to attack Lin Feng. He had already proven how strong he was by pushing Si Kong Xiao back with his punch. Even if they attacked Lin Feng, they couldn't defeat him. Si Kong Xiao, who's one of the 10 strongest young cultivators, isn't that strong after all, said Lin Feng smiling. He had made fun of Qi Tianxing not so long before, and now a Tian-level cultivator was making fun of him, even injuring his celestial vision. Boom! People behind Si Kong Xiao released some of their own qi, but Si Kong Xiao shouted, "Stop!" Si Kong Xiao then rose up in the end and said, "Nobody can attack." Chapter 1286, Give It Back. Si Kong Xiao is furious, thought the crowd. He was one of the 10 strongest young cultivators, and he was a descendant of the Si Kong clan. Now, a Tian-level cultivator had defeated him and humiliated him. He couldn't stand it. Mu Fanchen waved his hand as to indicate that he didn't want to attack. Actually, when Lin Feng released those 2 punches in Mu Fanchen and Yi Rinlei's directions, they blocked the attack, but didn't continue fighting. They wanted to see how strong Lin Feng was. "Let's see how strong you really are," said Si Kong Xiao to Lin Feng. They had just fought for a few minutes before, so it didn't prove that he was any less than Lin Feng, but it proved that Lin Feng wasn't that weak. "You'll see," said Lin Feng, then he rose up in the air. "Where are you going?" Si Kong Xiao also rose up in the air. They weren't fighting yet, but Qi was already dashing to the skies. "Celestial vision, territory," said Si Kong Xiao. Everything in front of his eyes became strangely distorted. Territorial strength. Si Kong Xiao had immediately used territorial strength to fight, not underestimating Lin Feng at all. Lin Feng glanced at the empty space and slightly raised his hands. He found that he was moving slower in that space. "Celestial vision territory, speed abstruse energies," sighed Lin Feng. It reminded him of what the diviner had told Si Kong Xiao in Fortune City. "Celestial eyes, you can definitely become an average emperor, even an upper emperor if you fight for it." Besides, Si Kong Xiao had been shot with a golden arrow. Considering the diviner's predictions, Si Kong Xiao was at the top of the list of the 10 strongest young cultivators of Ba Huang. The diviner's predictions for Si Kong Xiao were similar to those for Wen Tiange. They both seemed stronger than Mu Fanchen. The diviner had said that Mu Fanchen would need to be extremely lucky if he wanted to become a high-level emperor. Lin Feng guessed the best cultivators from the list of the 10 strongest young cultivators were Kong Ming the Buddhist monk, Si Kong Xiao and Wen Tiange. The diviner had also predicted that Mo Peng could become a medium-level emperor. But because of his temper, because he considered everybody and everything beneath him, he couldn't excel beyond that. Of course, Yi Rinlei couldn't be underestimated either. She just had to change some things on her path of cultivation. "Die!" shouted Si Kong Xiao furiously. He moved with incredible speed towards Lin Feng and released fission abstruse energies. "Piss off!" shouted Lin Feng furiously, looking like a demon god. Empty space energies rolled in waves, and at the same time, Lin Feng's fist hand reached Si Kong Xiao. Slash! Sharp lights emerged from Si Kong Xiao's celestial eyes, slowing the demonic hand. "Break!" shouted Si Kong Xiao, punching the demonic hand and breaking it. Si Kong Xiao continued running towards Lin Feng while releasing fission energies which seemingly became even more terrifying. "Arg!" Lin Feng roared like a demon. It was troublesome. Inside the celestial vision territory, he was too fast. Lin Feng also knew a demonic territory spell, But he didn't want to use it because he was scared that he would be recognized. After all, he had used that demonic territory attack against Qi Tiansheng and Shui Baiyao before. Si Kong Xiao, shouted Lin Feng furiously. Si Kong Xiao looked at him mistakenly, looking deep into Lin Feng's pitch-black pupils. Die, said Lin Feng. Demonic intent emerged from his eyes and drowned Si Kong Xiao, who was struggling to keep his vision. His eyes were sore and his celestial vision territory spell weakened. However, Si Kong Xiao groaned coldly and forced his blood to boil. I'll show you the real strength of the celestial vision, said Si Kong Xiao. He closed his eyes and then sounds were heard. Lights emerged from his body and came together to form two dazzling eyes. A pair of celestial eyes appeared above. Suddenly, Lin Feng had the sensation that the space was becoming even more chaotic. Celestial vision, spirit. The crowd was astonished. It's as if my legs and hands are tied up. It's really unpleasant, whispered Lin Feng. Then he smiled indifferently and took out the demonic flute. Take it, said Lin Feng, throwing the demon flute at Si Kong Xiao. Si Kong Xiao continued staring at him and stopped attacking. Then he threw himself at the flute. Bzz. Lin Feng turned into a blast of wind and disappeared. At the same time, many strong cultivators threw themselves at the flute. Strong cultivators from the Si Kong clan, the Magic World, Heavenly Palace and the Heavens of Desire's Palace. Qing Meng Xian also escaped. She was feeling a bit sad because Lin Feng had already disappeared. He had left her an incredible impression, changing her vision on cultivation completely. She knew that Lin Feng had defeated Si Kong Xiao, but he couldn't take the flute because of those three powerful groups. The earth and sky seemed to be collapsing and sky raining blood. The battle was tragic, but in the air, it was still Si Kong Xiao who obtained the flute. He glanced at Yiren Lei and Mu Fanchen and said, "Let's not fight over the flute any longer." Mu Fanchen and Yiren Lei looked at the strong cultivators around them. The qi was overwhelming. There were many corpses on the ground already. "Since you like it, you can have it," said Yiren Lei smiling. She didn't even know if it was that useful, but fighting Si Kong Xiao for it was pointless. Mu Fanchen glanced at Yiren Lei, smiled and also said, "You can have it then, Si Kong Xiao, I won't take it." "All right, thank you," said Si Kong Xiao smiling indifferently. He put the flute in his ring and gazed into the distance. There were some dazzling swords approaching. Jiang's people? Si Kong Xiao frowned. Yiren Lei and Mu Fanchen also looked surprised. Was Jiang going to cause trouble? Terrifying sword energies whistled. The leader of the group was wearing a white robe. He looked confident and at ease. It was Lin Feng. Initially, Qing Meng Xian wanted to leave, but then she saw Lin Feng. She stopped. That was Lin Feng. "Lin Feng," shouted Yiren Lei. "Yiren Lei, I trust you have been doing well since we last met," said Lin Feng smiling. "I'm all right, I missed you," said Yiren Lei smiling yet sounding a bit sad. "Master Si Kong, I'm interested in the item you just obtained. Give it to me," said Lin Feng indifferently. Everybody was astonished. The crowd suddenly looked excited again. That you're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.